It says live. I guess we're live.
All right, I guess.
It says live on
Are we
there.
live on Kingsbury TV?
Kingsbury TV.
That's what my fans call it.
Oh, really?
Okay, roll call?
No.
No.
No flags.
Oh, sorry.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, now.
All right, Commissioner Heinemeyer, or no, well,
Who's absent?
Commissioner Heinemeyer is absent, stuck in San Antonio right now. Commissioner Ignashik
I am present.
and Mayor Nolan.
I am present.
We have a quorum.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Announcements. I had mentioned, I think the last time about there was a number of MUDs on the election. They did finally post the election results, and a lot of it was not all these different MUDs. It was different propositions for these different MUDs. And so there was, of course, they installed a person in a chart house there, and so there's one voter, so they can pass all these amendments that they want. So it wasn't just a whole bunch of MUDs, it was a couple of MUDs and then just a lot of amendments, proposals for that. I did hear that, I think here, on 20 there at 621, they're putting in 240 acres, they're putting in 900 and something Lamar homes, calling it Kingsbury Estates. So if you hear of Kingsbury Estates, that's what.
Where's this at?
Right, it's just like feet from the Staples city limit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was close.
621 and 20?
621 and 20,
I mean, like,
920.
where are you getting that water from?
That's why I mentioned that, because I'm thinking that was one of the MUD number 11, because I could not find where MUD number 11 was, and I'm kind of guessing that that's what it is. It's probably going to be
How many acres?
240-ish.
That sounds like the one that the Staples been fighting for years.
No, it's not.
It's not
Because
even-
because this is a different one. This is Kingsbury Estates. So it's because the one in Staples, they have, some control or some, voice in that one, because it is at least a few acres of it. It was 180 acres, and there's some portion of it that is in the city limits. So this is just like,
This is in the county.
this is in the county, in the Staples ETJ.
Then they should be able to regulate it.
Not in the ETJ.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
they don't have any real.
They don't have the fighting authority. Eh?
So are you guys ever notified whenever you like, it may not be within Kingsbury's fire department, but obviously if it ever come a time where they would support, do y'all ever get notified that, hey, there's 900 houses building X amount of miles away from your
No.
fire station? That
No.
nobody ever interested?
No. I mean, certainly if it was in the city limits,
Sure.
we have plating authority or something, sure we would know, but this is in the Staples ETJ, I'm guessing. I don't know what the fire department might be notified, and it may be years down the road, it may be, 3 months down the road, it may be, 30 years down the road.
But the only way you know is if you watch county commission meetings, or you go
Yeah.
through their agenda, their minutes,
Yeah.
you might know it, but
even then because they don't have to go there. Once they form their different muds and their different things, then it's,
But if they're gonna subdivide that 240 acres into 920 lots, they have to, it has to be platted out.
one time, yeah,
Yeah, county, yeah.
one time and then. Behind the scenes things that happen, which
Yeah.
is, I'm grateful to Shirley for looking into the muds for that, because you get the information before instead of after it's already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, you have to kind of dig around you can, find it on the,
Because that's what the developers do prior
yeah,
to.
yeah.
So
They
there's
have
a
the
whole lot of talk
pre-development meeting and get
behind.
everything settled and done and then they go
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
Well, somebody was
So
saying.
this is some LLC out of Leander, I think, is doing this.
Somebody was saying the other day that they had somebody had sold part of that farmland at 110 where they're building all those houses. That bypass, they didn't think anything would be on that bypass for 20 years. It's been like a couple of years. But they said that the family said that the money that they made on the land to sell everything was 100 times greater than what they had made on the farm in the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's
Now, which
why,
property is this?
I-10.
I-10 and 90?
110.
110.
The bypass that goes from basically 35 to 35 around San Marcos.
Oh,
It
okay.
surprised me when they built that, but it's nice that,
But they're,
Yeah, you can never, guarantee that your neighbor is not going to sell, because it's a life-altering amount of money that these people are being offered, that we're all being offered. I get offers all the time. And it's a life-altering amount of money, if you're willing to sell out and anger the people left for that,
It
so,
won't matter. It won't matter.
huh?
That won't matter.
It won't matter?
No. Oh, to them it will, but to you, no. If
Right.
you're willing
So
to
some
sell,
people-
take the
some
money
people
and you run.
Don't care. Some people, I know some people that have it on theirs that when they sell, it is not to be developed. So that they can continue to, so it'll continue to be a,
indeed, they put it.
One seller, then one buyer, and then another seller, another
farm.
buyer, pretty soon it's like, that disappears.
yeah, that'll
Across the street from
disappear
me, it was
eventually, yeah,
10
definitely.
10 to 15 acre lots, and
Yeah.
till you get down to that one end,
This
it's
is
like
like
half acre lots
Quarter
everywhere.
acre.
1 acre
Yeah,
lots.
Yeah, these, what they're talking about here is quarter acre
I know.
lots, I guess. Less than that, because
So
there's
they're gonna have to build a-
streets and stuff. Eventually.
The sewage facility, or treatments?
Pumping hall. Yeah. Kind of what
Yeah,
they're
maybe.
doing, I guess. I don't know what they're doing with the trailer houses up there on 3353. That's a lot of trailer houses going in. I mean, right next to each other. So I don't know what their plan is there. I don't mean to.
No, it's
It's
okay.
not, it's not a-
okay.
But I did mention last time about these muds, and it's not a huge number of muds. It was just muds with different proposals on the agenda. And I didn't look and see what the proposals actually were. So it's not 10, 11 muds going in. It's a couple of muds. I don't think I have any further announcements. Oh, we do have check report. And here, some more here, if you want any. One thing, is that in November, I had gotten a double transaction. I did, and then apparently I did the same thing in December. So that's why there's two $2,000, and I double checked all future transactions, and there is one. So I put in the orders, and there's no way to make a recurring order, so I have to do one per month. And it's either that or remember to do one every month, kind of is what our rule of thumb has actually been, it's about $2,000 a month to keep it, that money into, keep putting that money into an interest-bearing account. So, yeah, I double dipped in November, and apparently I double dipped again in December. And it's not, there's no way to cancel an order once you put it in. But doesn't hurt, put the money over there, and now it's getting interest where it wouldn't have otherwise. I did see AHP.com. So is that the new?
That's the new laptop.
The new laptop, all right.
Yeah.
So, have you got it set up and?
Well, it's supposed to arrive around December 30th.
Okay,
It's going to be a great laptop. I wrote some notes. There is an update on the clerical stuff later, but
okay. I did see that the last time, it started to fill in when I was doing check report, and I was saying laptop, and it filled in laptop for a city clerk.
Oh.
And I was like, well, when was that? And it was 2018, so it's been 6 years, which is a good, you know, that's a good life for a laptop, and the one that we have currently
Yeah.
now won't update to the latest OS and everything, so
Yeah.
it's time to go ahead and replace it. So yeah, 6 years, going on 7 years since we got a laptop.
I think we got a really good deal, like Black Friday deals. They said it was worth, at full price, $2,916. We got it for $999. And I got a 3-year warranty with support for $117. So grand total of $1,191.33.
Yes.
So.
All right.
Yeah, you know, when you need it. We did get a sales tax deposit. Just a reminder, 2692.81, which seemed a little lower, but when I went back last year, this time, we got like 2,800, so it's a little bit, it's about the same as what we've got in the past. Let's see, payroll tax, blah, 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 insane, there's again, okay, that, 2 of those. All right, nothing else to our shadowing there, so we'll go to item number 2, public comments, discussion. Any public comments? Any?
Hogs are running wild.
Hogs are running wild.
How are they?
The Lutheran Church, David Baker, yeah, they've been tearing things up. Kevin put out a trap there at the Lutheran Church today.
Oh, really?
Like I said, nobody's tilled that land in ages, and yet it's tilled.
It's still.
Yes.
I saw a picture on one of those clickbait things, and it said something about shooting Texas hogs, but they had a picture of a javelina. So I'm like, you know, how smart are you that you have
Don't know
talking
the
about
difference
hogs
between the
and
wild
have
hogs and the javelina.
yeah, the javelina up there. So,
Grateful for the drizzle we've had.
the drizzle.
I am.
It's some.
Yes.
I'd like it to rain,
Yeah.
really rain, but
We are still.
I can see the.
I figured after that rain Friday night or whatever, they lit the burn back.
They did not. Yeah, they did not.
And it's-
It hasn't been, I think, just sufficient to really,
Not saturated at all.
it's not saturated, yeah. So, yeah, we have gotten at least some decent rain and then cloud cover that let it, what we got soak in, so definitely thankful for that.
Just a friendly reminder, we do have a lot of loose cattle getting out in and around Kingsbury. You can see it all the time on Facebook. I can tell you that yesterday someone struck a bull on FM 1104 and Indian Springs Drive.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
The information we come across that we don't look for. I don't go online and yet I know about it.
Oh, I knew about it because I left the property.
Oh,
what the hell happened? So someone struck a bull. The vehicle that struck the bull was not there. There were no parts anywhere. I mean, they cleaned the scene. And a neighbor was able to use his front end loader and move it off the side, get it off 1104, and then onto the access of Indian Springs. I didn't see it there this evening, but I don't know. But that it happened pretty bad, and I'm wondering if anybody was hurt. Did
Yeah, the individual
That will total a
incident.
car.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, that animal, not bloated, was 900 pounds. I mean, so I'm like, man, but I don't know. We have, none of us have any idea in the area who, if anyone was hurt. There were no, I mean, literally, there was no piece of evidence of a vehicle piece of an impact, but you can see where the impact happened on the road, the drag of the tires, the drag of the animal. I mean, there's no mistaking it. So
And-
just be careful out there, everybody. We have loose cows.
Carry livestock insurance?
Beg your pardon?
Are they required in Texas to carry livestock insurance?
No.
No.
So just FYI, just because I do know that we have a lot, most, not out there, but some maybe more close towards 90 and Baker Road, but
They're
just,
always out there where we are.
I know.
There's habitual,
Oldfield Road, there's
Breakouts.
always.
But just
anytime
extra
you get a really
FYI,
good
just be
rain,
careful, y'all.
cattle are gonna get out. After it rain, cattle are gonna get out.
Cattle are gonna get
They
out.
just do it.
Right, item number 3, review of public documents. Area residents needing help with ETJ. There hasn't been one submitted lately. I did check the agendas and minutes for city council. I think the last one was there was like 3 that we had done, and that was I think about 3 meetings ago, so haven't got a lot of, there are still, still get people saying that they want to do that, they need to do that, but it's the people that were the most interested have
Have done
Got
it.
it.
I wish there was a really good benefit to being in our city, or even in our ETJ, but in our city would be even better. More people would do that, at least. But I don't know what the benefit would be.
just protection is all. It's,
Well, the only
you know,
benefit is in numbers, there is a voice. Without the numbers, people don't listen to you.
Yeah, that's what I did have someone, I was asking, it was like, would you be, interested in this? Because there were people behind them, that had already, filed paperwork. And they're like, well, what's in it for me?
Yeah,
And I'm like, well, nothing really.
cash in your pocket right now, nothing.
Nothing, no, yeah, I'm not writing checks for it. So, it's, just the sense of being, actually in the city of Kingsbury and, having, like you said, like some kind of voice. But other than that, we're not providing city services, so it's, we don't have property taxes. It protects you from property taxes from another. But since there is no more forced annexation at this point, it's not like
Long
there's a
way
lot
away.
of creep, that
Yeah.
can come your way, so. All right, item number 4, old business consent agenda items. This is approval of the November 18th, 2024 regular commission meeting minutes. Any items there that need to be moved to the regular agenda, which is the minutes? If there aren't any objections, so those items will be adopted. All right, no objections. So those items, which is the minutes, are adopted. Item number 5, discuss and consider Kingsbury Development Committee report.
Hello, good evening. I sent this morning, I think I sent the minute reports electronically via email to those emails that I have. Your email keeps coming back, so I said it wrong from you, sorry. Meeting minutes, so the Kingsbury Development Committee is an advisory committee. Again, the committee and the commission are not the same thing. The distinguishable feature is that the committee operates as a means of internal regulation and advisory body to investigate, study, and/or make recommendations on specific issues involving the city of Kingsbury.
Thank you.
Some of those action items included the city lease agreement. We understand that the city is under revisions of the current lease agreement with the volunteer fire department. We would like to request that KDC be included in that updating of the lease to be able to have meetings with its community members and hold community informations and guests and things of that effect. And it's also my understanding that the city lease, that the city would, insurance would provide the coverage is one of the concerns that was addressed, I think my understanding last meeting. And so that was resolved, and so our request as a committee is to include us in that amendment on the lease agreement that is currently underway. Number two, we have confirmed the 2 parking spaces closest to the bay to remain clear for the fire department crew. So when we have meetings, we place traffic cones there just to make sure that those stay reserved for the volunteer fire department. We were also wanting to discuss the Kingsbury Volunteer Fire Department fundraising letter that was issued out in 2024 to all the residents. And so that was one of the, we didn't get to discuss it, but it was because we were running a little short on time. Calendar, item B, calendar. One of the things that was discussed was around Kingsbury's 10th birthday or anniversary coming up. Does the community desire to celebrate? What about the city elected officials? Do y'all want to do something? If so, maybe we should think about some planning. How the volunteers can help with that. Speaking of, one of the things that was also discussed was the fall harvest recap, the fall harvest 2024 recap, the fact that it lost money this year, and the city commissioners had noted that far fewer vendors than years past and less attendance. So the committee would like to know, is this an event that the community wants to see continue? And if so, what are some things that perhaps the volunteer body can help with planning the Kingsbury Fall Festival, should that be a continued event? So that way it breaks even. Again, not make money, not make profit, but break even versus coming up short. Also with the calendar, we also want to discuss we're looking to start planning National Night Out, see what we can do to help with getting any assistance with that, what the committee may be able to provide assistance with that city-funded event as well. Last week on Tuesday, we had a guest speaker, William Bill Nodine. He is the education director with Guadalupe County Master Gardeners. And he provided us an outstanding presentation and demonstration. Everybody got hands-on good stuff of vegetable gardening and containers. Mr. Nodine discussed vegetable varieties for container growing media, types of containers, seeds, transplanting care, feeding, fertilization, water, light, harvesting, disease, and insects. It was packed.
Whoa.
And that was just one subject that the Master Gardeners have. And they have a wealth of them, from something as small as where some of our disabled folks are much easier to do container gardening on their patio, to ranging to where us larger folks, where we're running acres and we can till over So it's a wide variety. So we're looking forward to try to expand those collaborations and build good bridge building with Guadalupe County Master Gardeners, because they have a wealth of resources that can provide enormous amount of great resources for our residents on a variety of levels, from minimal to grand. So, then we also discussed communications, as far as we know that the committee is in the communications business. And we really need to reach out to our target audience and effectively use the existing communication platforms is definitely a necessity. And so I also sent out the annual review of the communication inventory. That was done in January of 2024. And we want to see if those are still valid. I think some are non-existent. I think maybe there's even some new ones that could be updated on that. So that's been sent out, so your feedback would be greatly appreciated. So that way we make sure that we're hitting all the channels to get all the information out to the community at large, not just the immediate residents, but the community at large. One of the things that was new business that was discussed is an alternative location in the event of the volunteer fire department and the city lease agreement is a no-go. We have, as of this evening, we have 3 options, and so we're going to determine those following this evening, whatever happens this evening, see how that plans out. Also, we for next month in January 2025, it's all about water, water, water. I hear everybody talk about rainwater. We need the rain, so we're going to really dive into water harvesting systems, how you can do it on your own, what services and resources are out there, and for free. Dr. Soon and Dr. Granger are incredible gentlemen and amazing master gardeners and master naturalists. That's how I know them, as well as they are the owners and operators of Rain Bees, and that's who's going to be coming and visiting with us in January, and from dry to wet systems and everything in between. So that should be pretty fun. Let's see. Last bit of announcements. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. I went ahead and kept, because we're talking about water, I went ahead and kept the opinion piece by the Water for Texans by Texans in the announcement piece, The Path to Self-Resilience. It's a really good information piece talking about water. And also a really interesting piece through the Texas Water Development Board, the Water IQ, Know Your Water link is there. It's a really great public awareness campaign. They got a lot of information to also help you learn about other things you can do to conserve, improve, retention, well water, etc. Subject to any comments, questions, or concerns? Yeah.
So I was curious as to the month prior about when the fire department and the committee meeting here outside of this, your committee. I mean, it was almost,
Committee.
so that there were issues, possibly somebody didn't ask the chief. So who owns the fire department?
The fire department does.
Board,
The board?
There's trustees for
Yeah.
nobody owns the fire department.
Okay,
They have trustees,
okay.
and then it's through the Kingsbury Volunteer Fire.
So there's a charter or which form, then you have a board, and so it is
Oh, there's-
totally
Does it?
volunteer fire department.
the fire department is owned by the fire department, basically.
You mean the state
Yeah,
building?
But the
state-
property itself is owned by a family, isn't it? And if
No,
this fall apart,
it's
it
owned
goes back to
by-
them,
Yeah, it was originally, but yeah, it's owned by the station.
the corporation, or?
The-
Charter.
Kingsbury
Really?
Volunteer Fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically the answer is it has nothing to do with the city of Kingsbury.
No, it does not.
They
The city of
existed long
Kingsbury,
before.
right, city of Kingsbury has a lease agreement with the fire department
once they built the new building,
Okay.
that we have an office that we have here, because we used the old fire department. Of course, there was no offices, no room for, so when they built the new fire department, we entered into a lease agreement with them that we could use as training room, and then we have an office that we have use of. We know at some point the office was probably going to be repurposed
Yes.
for
Bunk.
Overnight.
bunks.
Yeah.
Bunks when there is the ability to have
That was
a
planning
man
to build a
station.
fire station to begin with.
A man station
rooms.
24/7.
So did the fire department or the board or the chief or somebody?
There's been more
at
than one chief.
time or another say
Chiefs have
that
changed.
they would rather not have your meeting here?
No, the fire department has, with their insurance and the purpose of what they're doing, the building is a fire station. It's not a community center. And they get requests quite often to use it for different events. It's a nice space.
Yes.
I'd ask.
Yes.
For different
Personal
events,
and
but
otherwise.
it is not, it's a fire station, it's not a community center. It was
Well, I can
never
understand
intended.
events, that's kind of above and beyond.
Right.
I just didn't know as far as the committee that's, the fire department, the city of Kingsbury.
Well, I
and
think,
or-
yeah, there was questions because the topics in the development committee, which are great topics, they're more community outreach, and it's not been items to be brought to city council to, for a vote. So it was viewed by not just the fire department, but people asking, saying, hey, I heard you had, something or other, can't I have my thing in there too?
Especially with the bringing in of different community groups like the Baptist Church and the
Yeah.
Master Gardeners. It's
Yeah, so
it's
it
adding
was,
to
And
the
nobody
community
addressed
center.
what has happened in the past, because I did quietly sort of mention it has been used for personal use, family. Somebody in the fire department wanted to use it, they were allowed to do so. It is a non-government building, it is a private building. And so they have the ability to say as a private thing that, oh, we don't want these people using it. That they do
yeah,
cover the
so-
community.
Part of having the community outreach is to bring the community in order to bring attendance to the city, because there's been very little to nil attendance of residents or community members.
Yeah, prior to
Especially over the year that I've been here, it's
Yeah,
been very
prior to
minimal.
forming as a city, yes, and the building, prior to the expansion of the building, actually had voting in it at one time. But the majority of voting in Kingsbury, as a location, is one of the older buildings and a church building.
Yeah,
Right,
that
so
was
it
the
just
that was
got-
the reason for my question.
yeah,
Primarily not to be the opposition, but was didn't really understand, you've got a volunteer fire department
Yes, sir.
that's primarily supported by the community.
Yes, sir.
And the donations.
Yes, sir.
right.
To almost cut the hand off that feeds you, lack of
Actually,
a better word.
actually cutting fingers off,
Yeah.
not the hand, because when you form more and different things, wait, I can't give here and give there, so you didn't cut the hand, you cut fingers.
That's
I
why
don't-
if you're trying to use the community, the outreach, the volunteer fire department, the annual fundraiser is only one that they have.
They had,
I thought it was kind of one of those things where it's like, almost like, push you out. We don't want the community involved, but we want your money to support the fire department. And that kind of
Well,
took
they-
me back a step.
No, I
that's what was
I
beautiful
agree
about
that
the
this
letter.
is a fire station.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
we support it through our donations to be our first responders.
Absolutely.
Again, it's a fire station.
And
It
the
was
beauty of
never
the letter
intended to
that
be
they
a
discussed at the
community.
committee
I
meetings-
love what all this other stuff, you know.
That it mentioned, how many people have they given medical training to? The fire department paid for it. Those people are in our community. Some of them took it
Right.
and ran, others are still here. Whether or not they actually literally are still part of the fire department, sorry, personal things get in the way, and
Well,
but the fire
you train
department
here, you
supports in
work here,
many
you do
different
it,
ways,
you
not
move,
just.
you move.
Yeah, but I
you
think
take your skills
asking
with
the
you.
question tonight gives me a better understanding
yes.
as far as,
And more than one fund.
kind of the
that is
makeup of the
making-
fire department
Right.
as to why those decisions are made. I completely understand it's not a community center. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's a firehouse, primarily 99% of what they're
Yes.
doing and what they're allowing you to do here for your meeting. Understand that.
Yeah,
I
they
just,
reached out to us to see, hey, we got some unused rooms.
And not for money
How
either,
would-
just that we have unused
Right,
space.
and what if we allow you to use one of those rooms as a city office? Like, yeah,
Right.
we're all over it.
Well, and I mean, it seems kind of odd to me to, you know, they're a fire department, like, we're all indebted to them. They're volunteers who will put out the fire in your house. Like, I don't know, to say that they're
Just
cutting
your house
off
where
the
you're
hand that
driving,
feeds
those
you,
grass
like,
I'm not
not.
just saying
Smoke.
I'm not saying that we wouldn't be indebted to them and what they do. I've been a volunteer fire department myself. To me, it come across as folks that live here and in the ETJ that they by no way, no how wanted to have any kind of community involvement. But also it wasn't explained as to, could this not be a place to have a committee meeting
Right.
of any type?
Yeah.
That there was no ownership from the city. When you've got folks in the community that are primarily one time a year for their large fundraiser supporting them. All of these folks in this community are coming out to support those men and women to do what they do. But you've also got a lot of other volunteers in the community that took a step, they took a step back that kind of was like, it come across way, way wrong.
I think it came across, yeah, I think you're right. I think it
That'd
came
be a
across
Very good
in
statement.
a different, not as it was intended.
Yes, ma'am.
It,
And understanding now
Yeah.
as to the ownership of the fire department, was it ever intended for any type of meetings? And if that's the case, perfectly fine, understood. It's not taking away anything that the fire department does or don't do. Absolutely. It's great to have a fire department. These guys responded to a fire that we had on our property when we first moved to Kingsbury. And we were much more than appreciative that they were able to come out and save somebody else's land and not for them to incur additional expense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it come across as absolutely they don't want anything to do with the community outreach or
it wasn't
anything
that
else.
at all.
And it's their building and they're gonna leave it that way. And I just thought it was more of a community type owned City of Kingsbury building or a volunteer fire department in it. I stand corrected tonight by asking
Yeah.
those questions.
yes,
They
it's
they
good for get
graciously
clarification.
offered us the office space and the use of this facility.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
As a city, we were hurting for a place.
Sure.
But we're
Yeah,
moving
we-
into state.
That's
That's
yeah.
okay, that's
Well, wait for
okay.
Allison.
Yeah,
I know.
No, she's not gonna.
But, so like, I hear a lot of I live out in the sticks. I don't come to town very often. I hear secondhand information, or I read an article, or I hear somebody say, I read some. I never heard anybody say, you can't be in here. I heard somebody say, now who said it? I don't know, but somebody said you can't park there. They didn't like that, and they didn't like us having the thing about the community center. And I understand that, but no one actually came up here and said, I'd like to talk to the city commission about this because it's an issue.
Sure.
Hadn't happened. A lot of, I don't say gossip, but a lot of talk about it, and a lot of opinions about it. And here we go. So that number 6, my name's on it because I really want a clear understanding of what our lease agreement is. I know we don't intend to stay here. we're trying to get out of here as quickly as we can. But what does our lease actually say? What are we actually entitled to do under our lease?
Well, you got a copy of it.
But I want to know.
Explain it to me,
I want to know
Lucy,
the rec- I
explain
want
it.
it plain and simple, black and white.
Okay, yeah, we are,
Rhetorical
yeah,
question.
item
You
number
really want
6.
an answer?
I really do want, I
And
do,
in-
yeah.
in the lease.
You are the leader of this commission. You know that.
Yes, sir.
So I need your voice here. Okay?
Put you on the spot.
Essentially, the lease agreement is just saying that, you know, we have an office here and we can use it for the premises, the tenant agrees not to use the premises for any purpose other than the permitted use.
What is the permit?
Yeah, it doesn't specify exactly what the permitted, well, the permitted use, small office for the city of Kingsbury and monthly use of common areas for city commission
And
meetings.
that's where the problem, monthly
Okay.
use, but it doesn't say once or
So
twice.
if it's a city commission meeting,
Yeah,
that's to use the common area.
right.
Other than that, it's our office.
Right.
Okay? So that's what our
That
lease.
means we can walk through the hallway to get to
Well, I
our
was saying,
office.
yeah,
Go
Yes.
back. But otherwise, it's a very limited use.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
The office
written
and
up
our
that
monthly
way on purpose.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So that's our lease.
That's the
The
lease
office
agreement
and
that we
A
signed.
monthly use
And
of this facility, this
This
common
room.
area,
whatever that date
this
was.
meeting room.
This room.
That
Okay.
Myron Berger
And we
and
have.
I signed
When does the lease expire?
in 2019.
Yeah, 2028.
2028, termination date is
What month?
September 30th, 2028.
Ooh,
Now-
long-term lease.
I do have the understanding that there will be some amendments coming to this contract. I mean, I was talking to
Is there gonna
David.
be a discussion with the fire chief?
I mean, I was talking to him. I mean, I keep running into him when I'm here,
Yeah.
and then we talk. But
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, it is good. But he was saying one issue that their insurance company was having with this lease is that they were saying that something about it. It doesn't count as renting if there's no money exchanged. Like they would need it to be like $1 a month or something to show. I don't know. This is something David said, and neither of us are lawyers. But that
Insurance
was
companies.
some kind of issue.
Legalism.
And
It should
then
not be a legal issue. The consideration is instead of $1 a year or any monetary, the consideration stated in it says base rent, no monetary rent. The consideration is mutual respect and admiration and intergovernmental cooperation between the landlord and the tenant. So it is our mutual respect and admiration. We appreciate what the fire department as a separate entity does, and they appreciate what we do to incorporate and to govern the city and to achieve the purpose that we started out, was to create, so that if we hadn't created the city, we would now be in Seguin.
Yeah.
We would be in the city limits of Seguin if we hadn't stopped them.
Yeah.
And so the consideration is we respect and admire each other's purposes and goals.
And it would be nice.
And that is enough to support that this lease could not be attacked legally by either one of us, really. And I don't think, with all due respect I can't speak for their insurance company.
Amen.
But their insurance company cannot take the position that this is not a valid lease. You know, the problem mostly is that the insurance company is looking at everything because of a large claim that was filed.
They're being a
because
bully,
of
rather
the
than
loss
acknowledging the city's
a fire
insurance
truck.
covering as well.
And so it's a legitimate question that the fire department's insurance company raises about what is it that you're doing, and how much am I, as an insurance company, how much risk am I incurring? What are you doing out there that's going to cause us damage? And so I can see where their question would be, as an insurance company, if you open it up to a lot more activity that's going on other than your basic fire men and women coming in and conducting their purpose. If you do too many things, then you're going to start having events, or you could have what insurance companies call occurrences. That's what they dread, is an occurrence. And
What they
so
don't
that's
want,
what the
what they don't
consideration
want is to slip and fall.
They don't want to
They
slip
don't
and
want
fall,
to slip and
and they don't
fall.
want a fire, and they don't want a car bashing into.
You know, when I hear that leaves the question about the spaces out front, that's the mutual respect between
Right.
somebody here at the meeting back to the fire department, saying, have respect for us, if we've got a role for a fire department, we don't want our
Yes.
firemen and women parking across the street and killing, more time to get into the building. Mutual respect.
They brought
Completely
it,
understand.
it was brought to our attention, and Elena handled
Corrected
it.
it. That's
She
correct.
corrected it. And we were not aware of that.
Yeah, that was
I was-
unbeknownst to us.
I've long been aware of it,
You
but,
have?
but it was not something that was announced. I think it was something, I brought up at an
Secondhand
auxiliary
information
meeting or
and,
something
yeah.
one time, so, yeah, it's been that way for a long time, but it's not like they have signs or anything, so it's just something that was known by the auxiliary. So,
Do we need, or I feel like we should, either in contact with David, the fire chief, or the board itself, clarifying what our lease is and make sure everybody's okay with what's happening or
So,
not.
What do we
Issues,
need to clarify?
well, I don't know, like I said, no one's directly come to us and said, we don't like this, have they? Or have they? I don't know. No one's, I haven't heard anybody say from the, fire department board, we have a problem here. I haven't had the fire chief come to me and say, we have a problem here. So I don't know. I hear it,
Well, so,
yeah,
I don't know. If it's not an issue, then we won't make it an
No.
issue.
Part of
Yeah,
the
it's-
mutual respect is that if they want to change something, we're open to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's an understanding, even though this has a term and it's a long-term lease for 10 years, I think it's always been our understanding that if all of a sudden they are incorporated or become part of a city department and they've got
we need a
firemen
stage.
on duty and full-time and with a big budget, they can, if they need to terminate this lease, I'm sure, and I can't speak for the three of you, but I'm sure that the city commissioners would certainly, because they accommodate us and we accommodate them. If they
Amen.
need a change for
The
some reason, we're
accommodation-
gonna do it.
And a word
Yeah,
in that lease.
what had been brought to the fire department was, hey, you're using it for a community center,
Okay.
why can't I use it? So,
They don't.
Everybody
Was
else.
the fire department going to bring it to us, or did they bring it to you and consider that was sufficient?
sorry.
well, the police, or the fire chief told me at some point that he wanted to have a sit down and go over the contract with
Because,
with
yeah,
some
Because
because it has come
representation.
up, yeah.
And then, I don't know, like a week ago or so, I talked to David again and I said, do we need to get this scheduled before this meeting, before the commission meeting, so that if something needs to be voted on, we know what it is, and he said that, they're still letting I think they're still letting the insurance company mull over the contract, and he wasn't yet ready to have a meeting
Okay.
like that. So I think that's where we're at.
Okay.
What's up, Dennis?
I believe that the city of Kingsbury, if the insurance company representing the fire department will pay attention and do, legal term, due diligence Kingsbury has done, and they need to talk to Kingsbury's city of insurance company that in the discussions, it's basically been resolved. But the entities are so separate, they cannot talk to each other.
Well, yes, that's the nature of insurance business, though.
Yeah.
The only time their insurance company is going to talk to our insurance company is if
there's
there
a
is a
claim.
claim.
Yeah.
An
And
occurrence.
something
In the meantime-
happens,
in the
and then they're
meantime-
gonna decide which one is primarily responsible and which one is secondarily. But they don't talk otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
I would leave the lease like it is. I would have your committee meeting off-site, and that way they're not worried about a slip and fall. I'm telling you what they're worried about. They're worried about 25, 30 people meeting and somebody falling down and getting hurt. And the fire department and the insurance companies being responsible for it. I completely understand it. When I hear that lease, it's crystal clear to me what the intent of that lease and this meeting was for, and this was not a community center. Absolutely.
Okay, anybody have a comment?
The previous discussion on a separate, what issue are we in?
I wanna
Anyway,
move to a different issue.
alternative location
She's-
has been offered.
Okay, here we go.
Prior, there were also alternative locations
All right.
offered.
Comment, please.
Yeah.
Okay, we've gone through 5, 6, now we're into
Are we-
7, well into 7.
Okay, so as far as lease agreement, we've ironed
Well,
out kind of what,
this-
at least what the wording is
We-
for the
Our lease,
rent,
the lease, yeah.
and the purpose, and what was the other, tenant agrees not to use the premises for any purpose other than the permitted use. So what the
Yeah.
permitted use, there you go.
Okay.
Permitted use and rent.
And we're gonna, David wanted to wait, and we're gonna, when he's ready, then he'll approach us. And then we'll
Regarding insurance? or-
discuss whatever.
That's my
We're gonna see what-
understanding.
Uh-huh.
So it's like,
Do we have an estimated time frame when that might be? 30 days, 60 days?
What?
I would not want to make you a
I don't know.
promise.
That I have no control over. Thank you.
Okay,
All right,
now,
so item number 7,
No.
discuss and consider need and purpose of the Kingsbury Development Committee. Frank.
okay. Originally, the committee was for planning and zoning. And they were bringing us advice. They were an advisory committee to the commission on the zoning.
And the comprehensive planning to create the
Right.
zoning, the type of.
And-
Well, I don't think it was ever asked from the commission that there be comprehensive planning to create, I mean, your strategic plan was your initiative personally.
But it was still, it was still part of the planning and zoning
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it just, it just,
happened to you already.
yeah,
I
no,
appreciate
it, you know, once you start, it builds. And that's one direction it went. There's other directions it could have gone, and it ended up going nowhere as far as we didn't vote on anything, did we?
Yes, and
We did.
the voting, the planning and zoning submitted, I want to say in December, November of 2023, that not to do the zoning because of zero community involvement and commitment within it. And there was also other concerns. When the city of Staples came, there was concerns also about the example Staples laid out that they implemented without neighborhood involvement or resident involvement, and that
Yeah.
didn't go over very well
No,
with
not at
a
all.
lot of us.
With the
Yeah,
resident.
so it was like, yeah, no. So ultimately, the P and Z said no to planning and zoning.
And then the committee went from planning and
Repurposed.
zoning to, I don't know the name of it,
The
development committee. And it had a different purpose,
Of different mission and vision and
And-
purpose.
Communication
and
being.
it was communications, and it was raising awareness. It was
Community
the-
outreach.
Yeah, and the ETJ petition was the
Right.
biggest push, first
Right,
biggest
when
push.
you got the
And-
traffic social,
Yes.
ETJ.
Good accomplishments.
And I know we
I'm
got a
not-
lot of folks done, unfortunately hadn't been able to circle back to it.
Yeah.
I had a break there for a couple of months.
It's okay, but, so, now it's, the committee, I would have considered part of the commission's actual action. And I would You know, I know it's once, it says monthly. We're getting semi-monthly when the committee was meeting for zoning. Not in exact agreement with the lease, but it was still a city function. Now, what we are now, I say we, because we're in it, what we are now is not really a city function. It's something we would like. I like the results. I like the results you get. I like the effect it's having on our community. I like the effect it has on our meetings, or our involvement, put it that way, the people's involvement with this
Yes,
political
brought in a
thing.
lot.
I was like, at the Matthew Gardner, I was like, man, I thought it was a small turnout. So I was kind of disappointed. I said, but you know, I got to thinking, I said, well, there's one person I know I've never met before, the other one might have met before, but they're both here tonight, and they're having a good time, and they're going to remember this, and this deal Kingsbury Development Committee, and that's who's doing it. And I said, they're going to tell somebody, and they're going to come do another one, and pretty soon we're going to have people showing up here to help us run this.
Figure out where you want to be.
And tell them, yeah, where they want to be. You know, it's like with the planning, I'm not comfortable being one of the people that decides what this city's going to be or do in the next 15 years. Because I don't know. And I'm probably not going to be here in the next 15 years. So I want other people to tell me, if they're going to be here, you're going to be here 25 years, so what do you want it to look like? You know, that's what I want to hear. I want the people that are going to do it to be behind it, and be behind it if it's what they want. If they want a little workshop, sales office in front of their house, you know, out by the highway, yeah, that's what they want.
And I think that was the reason we didn't know about the meetings, even tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's moving here even 3 years ago. And then I honestly believe if the community doesn't eventually come together, when you talk about them 920 houses up there,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
going to be in front of somebody's front door, and there's nothing they can do about it. But I think you have to have conversations. I almost felt like there sometimes has to be tension when somebody has something that they either don't understand or they've been misinformed. Just like the volunteer fire department building here. Because if not, you're never going to get to where you want to be. Because I'm 58 years old, okay? 25 years from now, where do you want it to be? And if some other folks don't start showing up and doing something and get more active involved in it, it's just going to be either something that people don't want it to be, or it's never going to expand in a way that you still want it to have that small hometown Kingsbury.
Well, that's where, I mean, when we started with the KBC, it was, or Kinsey, it was to, you know, bring action items to the city council so we could actually take some
Sure.
action.
Sure.
And it's evolved into more of community outreach, which is great. I love it. However, it's not items that are, it's not bringing items for us to vote on as a city commission. I mean, that's our
I
job,
would
is
love to
to,
know what those items that need to come to the committee are.
well, there are none really, right now.
That's,
There have been
I
in
mean,
the past.
other than the ETJ and the annexation, which is great, we made great
Right, there was-
progress, but where is what was the benchmark, or what were we after?
what is
were-
our vision?
Our vision
What
was
was
P
our-
and Z.
No, your vision was P and Z.
My vision was
Yes.
P and Z.
That
That was,
vision was P and Z.
yes,
And-
that was
and-
how we started the committee,
Right.
was P and Z.
Right.
And that would have
and
brought
that was not-
items to the city commission to vote on.
And even now, there's still items that can still be come up to the city commission.
Are there?
There
I don't
will
believe
there will
are.
be some that come,
There absolutely
almost
are. The
promise you,
population's
it's
coming.
gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while.
We
man.
don't have anything right
And
now.
right now, water, there is no water. We're at critical
We don't
stages.
have-
Those are things that
we don't
can
have
empower
anything
our
to vote.
residents, how to retain that water.
Okay, we don't have anything to vote on. As far as city commission, there's no item for us to vote on.
But I don't expect any committee, advisory committee to come to us and say, here's what we found and you should vote on that. And then we look at it, read it, and
Advisory.
talk about it, and then we vote.
Right.
No, that's advice, yes, but, well, if they think they have a good way to do it,
And then that
They're
would
gonna
be
give
the
it to you.
proposal.
Well,
for
who is
the
they at this point?
the committee.
Yeah.
Committee.
So, I mean, there were 8 people appointed to the committee, the 3 commissioners, Elena, and then 4 people who have dropped out. So I don't see how an advisory committee can advise when, I mean,
It's pretty hard.
you're advising yourself.
Yes.
Well, I think that the KDC, or the Planning and Zoning Committee, failed to follow through on what we have signed. And I think it appears that in the first meeting, all of those members said, we think that there is no discussion of land use management, no discussion of planning and zoning, and how to create a city that it's going to have, what we would envision was a city.
We spent months looking at videos, self-training videos, doing YouTube videos, learning, trying to learn, because none of us are planners, none of us are understand zoning. None of us know any of that, and so all of us spent months learning, trying to get all of that under our belt quickly. And it all led to, and everything from Texas A&M to Southwestern, we looked at Gonzales, we looked at Luling, we looked at similar situated, we looked at long term. We looked at cities from as large as 500 to as small as 135 to as large as 135,000. We compared to Houston. We looked at all large and small to figure out how does that zoning work for Kingsbury. We spent a lot of time doing that, and that all came to forward.
But you did not bring anything to us that said, here is a way to maintain the rural nature of all of our property while at the same time encouraging some business and some industrial, but how would we protect?
Because there was zero community involvement, and without community involvement,
The community involvement is the KD Planning and Zoning Commission.
But at that
people that are
time-
elected.
At that
And-
time, the committee stated they were not comfortable being the ones representing all of Kingsbury, just the 4 of us. They wanted to bring in everybody, and that was the plan, and that's
There was-
exactly
there
what
was-
we did.
there was a-
That's
Everybody
where,
else can come in,
yeah.
but the committee is the ones that started the discussion. That's why it was created. And again, we ought to be discussing if people think, I don't want you to regulate me and how I do my property, no, let's discuss how do we regulate it to where your neighbor does not build a battery
Infringe
plant
upon you.
or a
Infringe.
refinery.
I'm totally
And what
with it.
environmental
Totally
controls
with it.
would you
Totally
have
with
over
it.
that?
I can't do it on my own. And by the time that happened, when one departed to go join the city to be the waste manager to solve the waste management solution issue, then it was just left to 2 who were active. The other 2 were inactive, barely participating at all, which was fine. They gave what they could. We still submitted, and especially after hearing from after we had city staples here, we said no, that you cannot do a blanket zoning of just straight ag without community involvement. You need to have the people at the table that's going to impact.
We had
Well, they were
one,
invited to the table.
we had
They were
one,
invited, and they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
They
We
didn't
had-
come forward and say anything. We did not get a report back from a 5-member committee that said, here's how we recommend and how many more meetings we need to have. But you have to start, what we got back was, don't even think about land use planning. Don't even think about planning.
Because it was completely rejected, because in order to do the planning, let me pull it up here, I've got it. Initiative.
Well, you have to, in order to do the planning, you just have to write ordinances
Because
that
the
say,
map, but
if you're
the
going to have
very first thing that you
battery-
need is a complete map, and there was nothing but Swiss cheese of the map. It was the whole push for
No,
the
you-
social.
you-
Would
justice.
finally,
To
you
do
release
have
the
a
mapping
Start by
of those.
creating categories of businesses and
No,
what
point.
impact they have. Yeah.
This committee tonight made a point. 10 years 7 years before you got here. There was a committee, basically by the same name. That's what formed the city of Kingsbury. That's who met in the old building, in the church building, in the different places, and people attended. People were concerned about having things taken away from them. Yes, you pointed out very well earlier, we have blocked the city of Seguin
Yes.
from being, or our being part of them. But it was a similar committee. Now, when you changed it, I can't say that that happened actually, but when you went into the legalism of, oh, the commissioner's got to be part of the committee, and if they don't show up, then you don't really have a committee. If you don't have this person, you don't have a committee. If one person doesn't want to be there because they don't get along with the other person, then they're in the committee anymore. It was nice to see Brad come back. It was very nice to see Art come back in. It was very nice to have Staples come and represent and show us that's what committee
Here's the
was
report that
about.
was sent. That's exactly what was sent.
There was community involvement to stop Seguin
What are-
from
what are
us
you
from being part of a big city.
That was the planning and zoning report.
But when the other four folks dropped out, and I kind of, your comment is noted in my brain about how do you advise yourself if it's just you four. I agree with that statement, but when the other four either couldn't participate or they dropped out, was the intent to get new committee members at that time to support you guys as a whole to go in what direction you want to go in?
I will say that we had, I remember the committee meeting we had,
Right.
and I'll say it was on the agenda. I know it was uppermost in my mind to get this done. We were going to work on developing a survey to send out to the population in our community
That's pretty nice.
about zoning and planning and zoning, get their input, a questionnaire, and we were supposed to work on that, and we talked about that, and then the conversation moved away from it, and it never came back, and no survey was ever drafted, and I hope you remember, because I remember
She
your
wasn't
remarks,
present.
I remember
Again, we're
seeing-
going beyond.
I don't know.
I've been here, boy.
But the survey never developed, and the survey never went out. There was
Is your
discussion.
question or your response tonight is not to have the committee or have more
No.
clarity in the direction and exactly what the committee
What
is
I
doing?
what I would do right now if it was just me, I would want the development committee as an advisory committee, not as advisory, as the outreach, is what she's doing right now, is a magnificent thing for this whole thing.
Yes.
It's putting a brick on it every now and then. It puts a brick or two on it, and it's a really good thing.
Gotcha.
As an advisory committee, no, there's nothing to advise us on. Community building and involvement, that's what I want to see here, because I do want people to come. If I want to be sitting up here deciding how we're going to do this, I want people to come here and tell me what they think.
Amen.
Because I am not an expert, I don't pretend to be an expert, and I don't mind making a bad choice, but I want to have a reasonable idea in my head that I'm making a good choice.
2 or 3 other people, and it's very difficult
It's
to
like,
get people together.
you don't want a battery factory, and you want agriculture. I said, well, how about if they put in a feedlot next to you? That's not going to be pleasant.
Well, but you can't say that I don't want to have those things.
Yeah.
I want it where if somebody's going to build a battery factory,
Yeah.
that they have to, it's going to occupy 30 acres with a pond, and there's a drainage, and where all the battery chemicals come out in an industrial accident, that takes up 30 acres
Right.
of space. They have to build buy 150 acres and build a green space around it, and ponds and detention like you do in a refinery to protect the.
But it can even,
That's- that's
it
breaking-
can even mean that they have to update the fire department
Would not-
with the
yes.
necessary things to fight the
Absolutely.
fire for the battery. That's all, if
Absolutely.
that's the case.
And when they build a brewery, even things like a brewery, turns out and dumps onto their neighbor's creek effluent and the hops and grain and old rotten water, that comes out, that is something that needs to be tended. And I am like the low regulation, but I think we need to regulate
Yes.
people if they're going to do that right next to my farm or your farm.
Does
And
the
that
state,
comes with a permitting process, I mean, all of that.
the
all of
state,
that
doesn't the
stuff.
state,
That's
And
what
that's-
the
and
zoning commission
And that's
does.
what I drew up in the fucking floor.
doesn't the state regulate that? Takes the
No.
water quality?
No.
They don't?
No, the TNRCC does not do that.
No.
And they don't do it in Houston, where they have refineries on the Houston Ship Channel. They go in and they say, if you're going to have a refinery that produces 150 million tons of chemical spewing out at every year, you can't do that. You have to keep it at you have to do it on 150 acres. Well, what the Indian industry does is, no, I'm going to build 4 of them right next to one another, so they are only putting out 25 million tons a year. But if you take all 5 of them that they built right next to one another, that should not pass the guidelines and the laws and the regulations. And yet the TNRCC allows them to go build 5 of them next to it, and they call them totally separate. And so together they're all, they only produce 25 instead of 150
We
million.
just hit LLC,
Now, can
limited
the-
liability corporation.
and the city has the ability of negating that?
Yes, we can say, in a land use, in a zoning ordinance, we can say, these are types of industries that they're categorized this way, and they're going to require, our zoning commission is going to say, I'll decide whether you have bought enough land and whether you have contingency plans to limit your effluent and what you're dumping onto my cattle, right next to them. And the city can do that. And and the state does not do it. And it is a laissez-faire, and we have a laissez-faire, and business is important to all of us. And I don't mean to attack business.
Yeah.
I want businesses to come out here, and I want them to create jobs. But I just want them to do it on enough space around them and spend enough money to protect against. And you look at this great big auto plant right there halfway between Seguin and Austin and San Antonio,
Yeah.
built right there on I-10. If you go out and look at it, that factory takes up 15 acres, but they have 250 acres around it, and it's nothing but ponds and things to protect, so that if anything happens in that plant,
That's right.
it's not going to reach the farm right next to it on Santa Clara that I go buy hay. I buy my hay right there. And that is because they planned, and they are looking forward, and they are accommodating the public. But now, I don't trust everybody to do that unless you make rules that keep them from doing it. They can do it safely,
Okay.
and they can build a brewery over next to my house. But they have to have enough space to put in sludge beds and everything else that it takes to cure that stuff and do it, and then it's hauled off. But don't dump it in what's the High Creek over here, goes back down to Luling. Anyway.
York Creek, Fresh Creek.
That's why the first meeting I was in, when I said that the kids that are, the young people that are inheriting the land, they're either doing it or selling off to developers. That you're not gonna be able to maintain where you are now without some type of rules and regulations, even if it's something to start, a one-pager that says you can amend it and amend it and amend it to get you there.
That's where, like we were talking with the city of Staples, they had this one person that bought some acreage,
Knee-jerk reaction to a development that happened.
Exactly.
was going to, put in umpteen hundred homes on this, but a small fraction of it was in the Staples city limits. And because they had P&Z, they were able to be a voice in that. They were able to have a seat at the table, for that. And they were able to, kind of put a halt to some of the things that
they were suggesting, and because there was problems with ingress and egress, there was problems with the traffic control, there was problems with, a multitude of different things. And because they had that P&Z, otherwise they would have had no voice at all. And it was only like a corner of
The
the
live stream died.
If I'm not here earlier in this meeting, that was voted out, planning and zoning, to do that. And now we're talking about doing it again, so it's really not the issue.
No, we're
that
not
on.
talking about doing it again.
The issue that we're on right now is
Don't
whether
yell
or
at
not
me,
to have a
Dennis.
committee. If I misunderstood
I'm sorry,
the posting, I'm sorry.
It's the purpose of the KDC is the subject matter on the agenda, and that's what we're discussing.
We are.
That's correct.
What is the purpose?
We discuss so many issues at once, can we keep it straight and simple?
Well, it's
So you do have something to vote on?
It's all
vote
related.
on?
It's all related, and we're
Um,
gonna
yes.
I don't
narrow
want
it
to do
down.
anything
And
too
the fact
important
that it's
until I can
public
get
on
this
camera
live
is
stream
not
to
gonna
run
be
again.
Oh, are they missing all this wonderful conversation?
Sam,
All right.
I emailed you the planning comprehensive for the planning and zoning committee that is originally sent out back in September 2023.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And I looked at it as I don't remember anything specific in there that had to do with zoning and land use regulation.
Haven't gotten there yet.
We hadn't got that far, I understand, and I don't mean to be impatient, and I don't mean to be an environmental activist and an environmental lawyer.
No.
I was a business
You have nothing to
lawyer
apologize
for
at all.
42
You are
years.
totally
I've
fine.
represented
No,
businesses.
I just want to make sure you get the information
Yes,
that you need, that you're
Okay.
wanting.
Okay, thank you. And I don't mean anything personal in my comments about the KDC or any of the members. I'm just stating, trying to be objective, that you asked, what did you expect us to do?
haven't-
I'm
And
trying to
we
answer your
provided you-
question.
We have enough
That's what we
problem with
provided
that.
you back in September.
Yeah, this camera's
I-
not
okay.
showing
Well,
up.
that's only from Houston to San Antonio, you're on the radar. There's companies right now.
We
and
might start
in
over.
Easy Because we built 2 plants, so they want land and they want a place to build a plant.
So I
And
brought
it has
this
waste
summer,
coming out of it.
this summer I brought to this body government body, Dr. Potter is a colleague of mine. He operates the Texas Demographer's Office. He had provided the entire presentation and really struck out the population growth that's expected, projected to take between now until 2060. And we are dead smack in what's known as the Golden Triangle for the state, from Dallas, Tarrant, Fort Worth, all the way down to Bear, all the way over to Harris, and then back up to the Metroplex. And we're right smack dab in there. And it's coming.
And that's because you get
They're
10
coming.
and 80 and 130. I mean, this place is prime real estate. I'm telling you.
So-
You left out
I
what
tried-
has
I tried.
made Kingsbury really rough right now as far as traffic. You didn't say anything about 1, 2, 3, which they have destroyed, in my opinion.
This folks
So I
is
keep
covered.
Okay.
bringing, planning and zoning is
I'm
definitely
sorry, I
on
get
my
very,
mind. It's never
Yeah.
not. I keep
So we have-
bringing data to help drive that conversation, and yet it goes nowhere with the audience.
I disagree with you. You brought it to us, and I listened very carefully to everything you said, and that's why I'm saying today what I'm talking to you about is because of what you've made us aware of, and from reading the newspaper and everything else. We are aware of that, and it's not that I don't appreciate it, it's just that I don't think
And
we
that's
got.
something that the committee, in essence, that would be under the umbrella that the committee brought, because that was something that I brought in that summer, I think. And when that was when I came back this earlier.
Yeah.
Because I was
If-
out of pocket for.
If we need to discuss this further, we should have a workshop. And not do it
I'd
in
like to
city
have-
commission.
I'd like to have a workshop.
Okay,
I think you're a great idea.
all right.
What workshop, what are you saying you need a workshop for?
I
The other job
With-
right now doing the camera
said,
thing.
in order to discuss this further and come to, some decisions, instead of doing that in city council right now, we'll schedule a workshop You opened this, didn't you?
I did.
Magically
Get
open.
this roll.
Uh,
Okay,
all right,
all right.
okay,
All
so it'll be hard to do that between now and,
No, we don't,
yeah.
we can do it. Well,
Yeah.
this is the thing. I know you don't want to miss a month, and you're hurry and you're driven, and I know you want it nailed down, but we can't nail it down.
Got it.
But we do have-
I may end up postponing the event anyway.
Well, because
Because
having
I don't know that
yeah.
the alternative venues would be adequate.
Well, okay, so having an
To
additional,
accommodate, right.
Yeah,
I'll say community center meeting type thing here may be an issue for the fire department. I don't know. It may be an issue with our lease. So just like preemptively, just kind of like turn the burner down on that. I don't want to lose the development committee or whatever it ends up becoming. What it's doing right now, like I said, I'm really tickled with. I really like what's happens with it. But I think we can do more, and I think you'd like to do more, and I think Sam would like to do more. And I know Shirley would like to do more.
And I don't think I don't see any reason to say that you can't have an event like that next month's event at the Baptist Church. That's where we started, and we had all of the county
I don't know
commissioners.
that they're gonna be able
and-
to accommodate the needs of the guest speaker,
What does this need?
both technology
Audio, visual.
and a bunch of other stuff, yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, so that's why I'm
Okay.
gonna go check, but
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know that that's for
The
sure.
current-
I like
I
what
can
you're doing.
easily say the current way that they are moving now, that particular group, and the one that is considered in charge is moving toward a technical, but as far as having it at this point, no, they probably don't.
all right,
I'm
so
sorry,
we've,
since I'm here, I'm there.
Okay,
we've decided at this point, we'll further this discussion, but we'll do that in a workshop outside of
and
city
we're going to
council.
determine a date.
Do you
Tonight or
want to,
later.
it's gonna have to be after.
January.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Okay.
Christmas is like next week, so,
Yeah, that's right.
you know.
And it'll be over.
Yeah, I know, Christmas is next week, and then
Yeah.
2025 is the week after that, so, yeah. It's gonna have to be, in 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
Do we wanna identify a date? We can set a date.
Let's set a date because we can change it easier than set it when we're not all together.
Okay, good. So, yeah, next week is Christmas, then, January starts on a Wednesday. Second week in January?
Day and date.
It's the 6th, or the 5th is on a Sunday, and the 11th is on a Saturday. So,
We're going to meet here?
yeah,
Okay.
for a workshop, yeah.
Okay. Saturday or Sunday, anybody? Preferences or not good, not good?
I like Saturdays, but.
Saturday the
I
11th?
can do it whenever you guys want.
Saturday the 11th?
Saturday,
Saturday 11th.
January 11th.
We're shooting for this, yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
Saturday the
But
11th,
it's not a good day for me, but it's okay. I don't have to be
in
remote.
station at, any particular time works for you?
I get up early and
5 a.m.
Amen!
I can do it.
Amen! I love this guy!
I'll have coffee on.
That's not encouraging public involvement.
Say, okay, let's try
I'll
like,
make the coffee if it makes any difference.
let's try like 10
10 o'clock?
o'clock? Is that good? That way you're not like interrupted during the day or,
Yes, ma'am.
Saturday
10
night or
a.m.
anything. 10
All
a.m.
right.
Okay, we're gonna shoot for that.
If anybody has any objections, can't make it, let us know
Yeah,
somehow or another.
Yeah, and we'll certainly have to bring Allison up on all this. All right, item number 8, discuss and consider community development block grant program application update.
So phase 1 application went in. I checked in with our application person today, and she said that she wasn't expecting to hear back about phase one until sometime in the new year, January probably. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay. I do, I've been working on getting the information updated in TDM, the Texas Department of Emergency Management, which is where we put our projects for the Clipper stuff. And my password had expired. And I've been, and it says contact your system administrator, which would be me. So I've reached out to a few people at TDM. So, and this has happened before. They don't have a good tech department that says, oh, here's what to do. They always say contact your system administrator.
Well,
So just an update on that. I'm trying to get that going. I'll have that done by
You having a hard
then.
time working with that systems administrator?
Yeah, that system administrator,
be rough.
man,
She
she's a
can be
piece of
rough.
work.
Okay, so our Clipper is
We have to have our project in by the end of the year. Uh-huh.
end of December 31st?
We don't have to spend the money, we just have to have the project in.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get the project in.
Good.
Now that we have a project that we can at least identify and put in the project paperwork,
Okay, dope.
you know, for that and the wording for that. So trying to get that in, but I've run into this before. I don't get into TDM except for doing reports, which are due every few months.
Yeah.
Well, your password expires every
Every few weeks?
yeah, more often than that. So I've gone through this before. So I'm in that phase right
But
now.
you've
So I'll
got
get
a
it done.
grip on it, all right.
Yeah, I'll get it
Thank
done.
you.
So I just,
You're
as far as
very good.
grants, I just wanted to,
Yeah.
trying to get that going by the end of the year, working with TDM. Okay. Okay, so,
I mean, that's my full update.
yeah, okay.
So the dates that you have, Jessica, are still open, right?
I didn't,
What? What date?
2 different grants or same grant?
2 different grants.
That's what I thought, but, so your dates are still open, that's what I'm sorry, the basics that I'm hearing is.
No, we have very set dates for
Yeah,
this.
Shirley has to the end of.
Oh, right.
It's
Yeah.
You've got more time on yours, and,
I
Yeah.
mean, we don't even know if anything will happen.
right.
This is a local fiscal
Right,
relief
that's why I
grant,
like-
so.
Simple,
Yeah.
so somebody else can understand, because I can't.
Item number 9, discuss and consider possible real estate acquisition.
Yeah, that pretty much falls between Sam, Dennis, and
Yeah, and I
Jessica.
saw your emails today
Okay.
with the updates from the title company, and then there's something I needed
Yes,
to
ma'am.
sign.
And so I just have the amendment that
Thank you for doing all that too, by the way, that's, you know.
Jessica did it all.
Oh, just,
Thank
Well,
Thank
you wrote
you.
the
No,
words.
I had to handwrite it.
yeah, oh, I saw that.
He just held the
took a
pen.
picture of it, yeah.
And I
took a picture.
started to put into my email to you, Jessica, if you can't read my handwriting, just ask the mayor.
Yeah, I've
But
read your
I
writing.
didn't put that in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just an amendment and, that we have, and I alerted the title company to the change. And Dennis, this is the amendment to
Oh, I shouldn't
the
get it all.
the contract. You got 3 seconds to read it all, and no, just take your time,
Sam, the other
consult with
issue-
your attorney
the other-
if you want to.
I have my attorney, and that's bad, but it's true. I got a call from an attorney today, and now I'm waiting on paperwork because it should be settled. And a totally different issue.
Good.
But Sam is aware of that issue. It's my family.
Okay.
Part of my,
Sorry about that.
the Arkansas.
Yeah, but I have to put my
Arkansas.
blinders on
The
because
Arkansas
I'm
break.
representing the city
Oh, no,
right now.
Arkansas has nothing to do with this.
Oh, this is the amendment to change the amount of property, you know, instead
Yes,
of
ma'am.
partial.
And it's, and this is just an amendment of the contract if you want to read it or
Yeah.
if you want me to read it to the to the community.
I would like you to read it. I mean, no, that'd be my request.
There you go. Let's do it.
Well, I'll probably still stumble over the big words, but no, I have to get my glasses on. This is only modifying in the regards to modifying the contract we've already signed and sent to the title company. But this is an amendment to the 1 to 4 family residential contract for resale between Dennis D. Kime and the city of Kingsbury, Texas. This is to amend that certain contract described above. And last meeting, you announced what that agreement was, Frank. The city of Kingsbury will purchase, and this is a change in the amount of acreage that we're buying. The city of Kingsbury will purchase from Dennis D. Kime his entire tract of 1.44 acres and all improvements at 7571 Kingsbury Road per the Selco survey plat dated October 31st, 2024, delivered to Five Star Title for a cash purchase price of $100,000. Contemporaneous with the conveyance, the city of Kingsbury will lease back to Mr. Kime a portion of the property for him to reside on for a term of the balance of his life. The contract will close on a date to be decided by the parties and Five Star Title. All other terms of the original contract for sale remain in effect. So the comments that I have regarding that amendment are that we changed it from we were buying 0.49 acres originally, and then we had this survey done, and as a result of the pre-development meeting, we determined that we would, although we have an operable septic system on that property, we would not be able to, at 0.44 or 0.49 acres, we would not be able to obtain in the future a septic system permit if we were to upgrade or enhance that, and we would never be able to change it or to repair it. So we changed it to we're buying the whole 1.44 acres because then we can get all of those permits. We have and would have the use of the land, and we increased the purchase price by negotiation with Mr. Kime from $34,000 for 0.49 acres of his 1.44 to $100,000 to buy the whole thing. And Mr. Kime and Commissioner Ignashik have gone out and and I have it written up here, they have written up a meets and bounds description of the portion of the property that Mr. Kime wants to lease back, and we've discussed it, the commission. And so so we have yet to do, this is only to send to the title company to give them instructions on how to structure that transaction. And then from there, and it will be a lease back contemporaneous. So at closing, I'll have that lease done up in the next few days that we discussed, and it'll incorporate the description of the property, Dennis, that you wanted and that you and Frank worked out on the ground. This is ready to go. The only thing that needs to be decided, I think the title company is ready to go and close this whenever you guys want to. The question is going to be, do we want to ask them to go ahead and close it before the year end so that the money changes hands on December the 30th or December 31st? Or would you prefer to close the transaction in January 3 or 4 of 2025 because of tax consequences? So does it make any difference to you, Dennis? You just have to agree with the
tax
commission.
consequence doesn't, the fact that everybody's super busy, if you want to wait into January, it definitely sits okay with me. And because the wording in the contemporaries, that the meets and bounds that Frank and I put out, as I've said, Not that I change all the time, but if you would rather it be just, I'm at the very end of the property, yeah. And I explained, but then went ahead and marked out with Frank an area. Which would be
Okay.
actually less area that I would, I'm not demanding anything because I want it to go, I want the city to move forward. But I don't need the amount. I did explain that you have the sewer and I believe that is, and that gets into a weird situation even as.
Is it just a ground lease?
This is,
Yes.
yeah.
Like
no,
to live on?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Like to live on it with an RV, no permanent structure?
correct, yes.
Okay, so,
And
yeah,
it's
which
marked
is,
that, this is marked as.
right, and that is what we were, but we
Thank
were
you
kind
for
of
asking
guessing
me.
before,
Yeah.
maybe
Yes,
like near
ma'am.
the tree or
Here's
whatever.
what
So
he's
this is
talking about.
actually marked out. Okay, good.
He was willing to stop here. And then I said, well, there's like maybe a 20 foot space that wouldn't be on his lease. My concern was the septic system. We're awfully close to that line and
To which line? Oh,
to
the-
this
that-
property,
that-
this
okay,
back
the
part
dark-
of it.
okay.
So I just want to move it to that, make it easy, move it to that fence. And said, so we don't have access on this side, but we do have access from the front for
Okay.
city purposes.
Yeah, that is kind of what concerned me about is the access, but yeah, again, yeah, there is access on
And
that side. so.
he said he's amicable to letting that driveway be the access point to that
To
property
that.
if we wanted
Okay.
to.
And it's not gonna be set in stone until we
Right,
close.
that's
Yeah.
what-
And whatever
that's
we
like I
put
said,
in
if
front
you
of
just
them
want-
on a lease then, so we can
So
continue
has
to
this
negotiate.
been provided to the title company, this
No,
this
Not
update?
yet.
Okay.
This is not. And-
Okay.
But I told them, we will be presenting to them a lease that we want executed at the same time we get a deed from him. We're going to sign that lease
Yeah.
to him for his,
I guess
the
that's-
balance of his life.
All right.
And it's another one of those, no, we're
Yes,
not, he's not paying us.
I mean, you already signed it.
But,
He's
and
not
you
paying.
hate to even say it, but at the end of his life term, that lease goes away.
Correct.
Yes,
No
yes,
matter family,
Yes.
friends, it wouldn't matter.
correct, correct,
Even if somebody else was living on the property with you at that time.
Correct.
The lease would expire,
Correct.
yes, sir.
within reason,
Yes.
however many
Yes.
days after.
No errors.
Yes.
You didn't need,
No,
have not
yes,
put
yes.
the D on anything
And,
else, so
and
didn't need it.
he, yeah.
No, that's
right,
fine.
he-
So is there any insurance implications for the city, such as just say if they purchase on January the 5th, 2025, are you insuring the property at that time? And we're gonna have a lease, does it impact that insurance at any at all?
That will be definitely a discussion with.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes,
Our insurance is through Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool,
Sure.
TMLIRP, and so that will definitely be a
So the
discussion.
And
insurance
our
may be a
contract-
requirement that I have renters
our
insurance.
contract with
covered.
him says, not in that amendment, but the contract that remains in effect,
We need to make a
that
copy of
already
this.
says that we are to
I said we need
insure
to
the
make a copy
property
of this.
at the
Okay.
time we
Yeah.
buy it. And we will be insuring it against liability and all of the other property damage.
Right.
So is he,
Policy, so we need to notify TML, we're acquiring property on January 2 or whatever, here's what it is, and then they will charge
Yeah, yeah.
us more.
Yeah, they will. Yes, they will.
No doubt.
so I'm sure there's probably things to work out, but does he release the city of liability if something happens and there's an injury? Such
On
as
the leased
himself
property or the-
on the leased property? If the city's gonna insure the property total?
The city will be the
1.44
owner, so they're totally liable, and they may require of me to be liable for anything I bring on the property, which is called renter's insurance, to my understanding, which if that is in the contemporaries, that need to be written.
And that's, it hasn't been written, so that is to be decided.
Yes.
That's
So very good.
reasonable terms, but we don't want to put an onerous burden, financial burden on
Thank
you with a big insurance policy. It should be for it's a small area of land. It's probably it's
the-
probably
Quarter
less
acre
than,
maybe.
Yeah.
it's only 0.3 acres probably. or
Yeah, something
Can
like
the-
that.
Last
I would think, yeah.
Last
that
question,
or
can the
less.
city of Kingsbury lease to an individual like that to live on government property?
It's a,
It's part of our purchase price.
It's part of the purchase price. Otherwise, we negotiated the purchase price of $100,000.
Based on
But,
that lease.
but
Yes.
he was asking 134, which is the appraised value of the property.
Sure.
And market value, of course, is probably higher than what the appraisal district says. But we're acquiring $134,000 worth of property, according to that valuation, and we're paying him 100. That means he loses 34,000. In effect, he's giving us back $34,000, and that is the offset against the rent. That's what-
Yeah, and we didn't just come up with, oh, let's make it 100K. It was
No.
based upon
Oh.
what we would say would be
Well,
a
that's
reasonable
outside public
rent for
discussion.
this
It's a
period of time,
62-year-old
you know,
thing.
so,
69
and so it
by
came
the
out to right around there, so that's when we,
Yeah, he asked, he said, how much do y'all have? We said 100,000. He says, that's how much I need. No, that didn't happen that way, Dennis.
And it is recorded, actually.
I'm sorry?
What we are discussing now is
Yeah.
recorded.
The lease
Yes.
will be recorded too.
Yes.
It'll be recorded in the deed records of
Yes.
Guadalupe County.
and I just wanted to make a copy of this before I gave it back to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
You don't need to give it back to me. You sign it, make whatever changes you want to do or copies,
Uh-huh.
and then hand it to Frank, and he takes it to the title company tomorrow. Or if you'd rather, I'll take it, Frank. I'm not trying.
Either one, I'm going to town tomorrow.
Or Shirley,
So,
rather than
but if you want to
copy,
go, you're more than welcome.
because it is right to, you and I both have.
That's kind of
one.
into your designated
It's-
role.
Yeah, but if they
This
ask
is
a
a
question, I
copy.
can't answer it.
Okay,
Yeah, but you can tell.
this can be,
Yeah.
yeah, your copy.
what's-
Two originals, but you can write copy on it.
I'd
Sealed
ask-
for
You can ever ask her or
My
him.
understanding, it
Yeah.
works when you don't have a
If
machine
they
to
don't-
do
if
it.
they
It
ask
works.
anything,
It works, okay.
Physical.
Let's call Sam.
Yeah, we will.
I mean,
Hey,
there need to
Shirley.
be 3 copies, right? One for the title company and one for us.
I just wanted to make sure at least we had
I'm not,
yeah,
getting-
one. and
I'm
one.
just handing,
Yeah.
they're just taking, I don't think
That's
they
right.
get anything back
You've
from
al-
them.
You've already paid them the earnest money, and you've already given them, and they received the original contract. All they want now is that piece of paper signed by, it has to be signed by the mayor and by you. And I handed it to the mayor to sign just now because you guys resolved it already
Yes, sir.
and did the resolution, and Jessica wrote it up from last month's meeting saying that you've resolved and authorized the mayor to sign that contract.
And the title company needed some information from Dennis, correct?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm not aware of what.
Dennis, we don't want to delve into your personal area, but the title company requires you to sign a marital status affidavit at the closing. And so they've asked me to tell what your marital status is, and I told the title company, I will ask Mr. Kime to call you directly, and you tell them whatever they answer their questions.
Yeah, it's just me. I'm an individual. No marriage, no adoptees, no children.
And the reason for that, of course, is they want to know, is there somebody else out there that needs to sign this contract
Right.
with you?
No,
Because otherwise, we'd end up without,
Right.
somebody shows up and said, hey, I'm
The
Dennis's
benefit when I received the property, that I was given the option of totally me or including family members, and I made the option of, I said totally, specifically me only, so that my family is not involved in anything I do, and there's no other legal.
There's no
That's a
other
good way
legal
to-
claim on the property.
Right.
Would you rather call the title company, or would you rather I give them your phone number?
You can give me my phone number, that's fine.
Okay, then I will give them the phone number and tell them, and you may expect to be contacted in short order
All right,
by the
appreciate
title
it.
company. I think that's it on.
Okay,
Number 9.
Moving forward, we
All
close
right.
whenever you want to.
all right. All right, okay. Item number 10, discuss and consider interlocal agreement on subdivision regulation update. This is where we were wondering about subdivision regulation within the Kingsbury ETJ. And according to my pile of paperwork that I have on these different topics. Because we were considering adding the county responsibilities to our interlocal agreement with the Guadalupe County. And it mentions in here the county, or actually it's the city. It's actually the city responsibilities, except as specifically authorized in this agreement. The city shall not enforce subdivision regulations within the city's ETJ. And so that's where we had questions about what can we do.
I'm sorry.
This was we were adding, yeah. So with our interlocal,
With
with the county, which has terms of agreement, county responsibilities.
And it says,
And so when we were talking about being able to do plating, it includes the city responsibilities that currently our interlocal agreement with the county does not have. And item number A here is, except as specifically authorized in this agreement, the city shall not enforce subdivision regulations within the city's ETJ. And then that was where right off the bat, we had questions about,
changing our interlocal?
no,
Oh.
whether we do or do not have any kind
Well, that
of.
says we don't.
This says we don't, and upon further research, yeah, we do not. So, I mean, we had questions about, well, what if we just say we do? But
We can change
But we
it.
currently do, yeah, the within the state of Texas, no, we do not. And then for any subdivision for which the city is the platting authority, if any new roads, driveways, drainage structures, roadway improvements, utilities, or any other work is proposed to take place within the county right-of-way, the city will require the developer, let's see, the developer, do I have my pages? Yeah. First to obtain all applicable driveway and excavation permits from the county prior to final plat approval. Lots approved by the city shall have a minimum road frontage, blah, blah, blah. This is taken, like pretty much verbatim from the city of Staples. So, where they have done their own, they're doing their own platting. So this is what they added. Minimum road frontage of 200 feet of existing county roads. All lots shall be subject to the driveway standards of the county. Any driveway permits issued by the county will be in accordance with the county driveway construction requirements and in conformity with the current and future drainage infrastructure. So a lot of verbiage about the driveways and drainage and access to the property. So the arrangement, character, extent, width, grade, and location of all streets shall conform to the city and county's thoroughfare plans. If the city and county thoroughfare plans conflict, the subdivision shall conform to the larger right of way width and the higher street classifications. The county will have the right and obligation to inspect for compliance with the applicable road construction standards in accordance with the county's construction standards, and with the exception of the road, streets, or other infrastructure specifically accepted by the county for maintenance, the county assumes no further obligations to maintain any other public areas of the subdivision. The county will not accept streetlights, storm, sewer, curb, gutters, sidewalks, or detention for maintenance. So,
That
is
Staples,
that is, yes,
Or is
that is what
or is that ours?
Staples, the Staples agreement was very similar to ours.
Okay,
When they made the decision to do their own platting, this section, city responsibilities, was added to the interlocal agreement. So when we were looking at this, I'm not saying that we're introducing this word for word,
Right.
but when we were looking at what they had done for city responsibilities, the first thing on there was city shall not enforce its subdivision regulations within the city's ETJ. And that's where we had questions. So,
and what did,
and yes,
you
we
think that's
cannot,
correct?
we cannot enforce subdivision regulations within the ETJ.
within the ETJ, but it sounds to me like what you're reading there is that we are subject to the county's regulations, even once we start our own subdivision planning and ordinances, we are limited like Staples is too. It has to conform to county, which my only observation, question is, because I don't know what their agreement with Seguin is, but that's the only part I don't like. I don't think that's what Seguin's agreement, when they go build a subdivision or streets, they don't have to comply with the county regulations for 200 feet on the right-of-way.
Right. I mean, and I can't tell you right now, I know Seguin has gone back and forth at least once, whether they allow plating control by the county or whether they have their own plating control.
Okay.
I think, well, when we originally incorporated and had to come up in the interlocal, Seguin did not do their own plating. I believe that I understand, I had heard at one point, I can't remember through what channel, that they were now going to do their own, it might have been a mayor's meeting or something, that they were now changing to do their own plating. So I can't tell you right now if that's where that stands. So, yeah, it's, I know at one time they did not. I heard at one time they were going to. Where they are right now, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on who has the plating control.
Okay, can you or do you want to have
We've,
ETJ control over some of this?
Yes.
oh, it would be, I'm sure,
We'd like to, but our understanding is that
yeah.
no city can do that.
Right.
Even
There
San
are,
Antonio
it's
and
very
Seguin.
limited. In state of
Yeah.
Texas, it's very limited what kind of authority there is for a municipality in its ETJ.
I know you're Guadalupe County out, we are in the ETJ
Uh-huh.
on Pulley Road, but they're pretty good about the driveway permit, septic tank inspections and things complying with whether or not it requires a culvert, whether or not it don't,
Right.
as far as the county's concerned. But, you know, it'd be,
If you're in the,
We've
if it
never
was
really
in
had
the
a
city,
problem.
but
That's why
you were
from the
abutting
beginning, we've just said,
a county
you
road,
can do
you had to
all
meet
that,
their
County.
requirements
Y'all
for
are doing a
driveway
good
permits
job.
and everything.
let
We
you
Could
know.
be, yeah.
That's
I-
what it said, that's what, I
Okay.
think that's what I heard.
Okay.
Taking over a little bit
But
more
let me-
of it so that we
Yeah.
can
And then put it in your.
I thought I
interlocal
had
agreement.
New Berlin's,
modify that.
That's
I
correct.
think-
That would be a good one.
I think it,
So we
I
might
think
do it,
a while back,
this is a lot of influence.
when I put this
from
in
the
my
county,
Kingsbury
but
folder,
we might-
I think I saw
accommodate
something
them
that-
Because we like to get along with them. And
I think I
they
saw
take-
a
they
copy of
take
their
care things right up to our streets.
interlocal agreement with
Good
Guadalupe
job of it,
County,
and they've always been good
but I think it was on
natured about
a
it. I think
commission
that
meeting
road
video or
bridge.
minutes or something.
But
On
I.
the New Berlin website,
Because
they list so many things in this pale yellow font that I cannot see.
Oh, really?
It's very difficult.
You know, let me take a look
But
at that,
let
because
me-
I'm not saying, let's adopt this.
This
But
is-
it was a starting place,
This is
if it's still something.
An
we
ordinance
wanted-
for variance for subdividing,
Okay.
2.5. If you'll
Okay.
listen to this, please.
Yes, sir.
This is,
The owner of a tract of land located within the limits or in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of a municipality who divides the tract into two or more parts to lay out a subdivision of the tract, including in addition to a municipality, to lay out suburban building or other lots or lay out streets, parks, must have a plat of the subdivision prepared. A division of the tract under this subsection includes a division regardless of whether it's made by using a meets and bounds description or a deed of conveyance, or in a contract for a deed by using a contract of sale or other executory contract to convey, or other methods. The division of land under this subsection does not include a division of land into parts greater than 5 acres, where each part has access and no public improvements is being dedicated. And then it says, to be recorded, the plat must describe the subdivision by meets and bounds, locate the subdivision with respect to the corner of a survey or a tract or an original corner of the original survey of which it is part, and state the dimensions of the subdivision and of each street, alley, square, park, or other part of the tract intended to be dedicated to public use. the owner of the property of the tract, or the owner's or proprietor's agent must acknowledge the plat in the manner required for the acknowledgement of deeds. Plat must be filed and recorded with the county clerk of the county in which the tract is located. The plat is subject to filing and recording provisions of section 12.002 Property Code. Back to the first sentence. The owner of a tract of land located within the limits or in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of a municipality who divides the tract into 2 or more parts must do all those things and
Must plat it.
must plat it.
It says it must plat it. And then it says something that sounded like, and they have to do it unless both of the properties that survive the subdivision are greater than 5 acres.
Yeah, if they're greater than 5 acres, no platting
No
required.
platting is required.
Right.
But that does say that, I mean, to me, my reading, my understanding, that means cities have a right to, and a county, otherwise, but whichever one of them is controlling, it has
What's the
the
date on that
right
one?
what was
Oh,
the-
it's
they have-
probably
There it is.
2024.
They have a right
Yeah.
to subdivide.
Probably-
I
or
mean,
no,
we're the
the
ones
fourth
that,
one in.
we can
I thought I
control
had one. I
subdivision
cannot
of
find it.
properties in
Maybe on
our
my dashboard.
ETJ. That's the way I read that.
And this is New Berlin's, this was New Berlin ordinance for a variance for subdividing 2.5 acres. And like I said, it's very difficult for me to read New Berlin's webpage, but for each year, they have a list of all the ordinances. And they briefly say what they are, and this one was variance for subdividing. And I want to say that they had several variant or subdivision variances, and they all pretty much did the same thing. It's that thing, if it's in the city or if it's in the city's ETJ, they're regulating it and they're platting
Well, they're
it.
approving a variance to it,
Yeah,
so they
that's
already
right.
have something,
So
so
they have
they're
something in
approving a
place.
variant, yeah, they
Yeah.
already have something.
The county, they couldn't approve it in variance if the county was doing it.
Uh-huh,
So
And
my
I'm-
preliminary argument would be, or interpretation is, you could pass an ordinance just like that, let's just copy it. But if we did, it would be, that would be in conflict with
our
this
interlocal.
intergovernmental regulation here, agreement
We
with
need,
the county.
we need
well, this
to,
is for a particular piece of property,
we need to
the
change
San
our
Jose Guerrero
interlocal,
survey.
we need to change our interlocal agreement with
A1.
Guadalupe County.
That was,
Oh,
They-
okay, but
They
she-
still let the county regulate the septic, on-site sewage,
Right.
and another thing or two, I don't
But
remember.
they're gonna regulate.
But they're
the
regulating the subdivision.
In their ETJ.
Their ETJ.
And,
But for this one piece of property,
Oh, there's more than one
Well,
on their
oh.
list.
but
Yes.
they couldn't do that. I wouldn't
Unless they
think
had the
they could
authority
do
to
that, Mayor,
subdivide.
unless their intergovernmental agreement with the county allowed them to do that.
Yeah.
Even for one.
Yeah.
Now, or they are asking for a variance from the county,
that's a possibility.
and that's a
Uh-huh.
possibility. We need more research into what it is, but
Yeah.
I think to some extent that conflicts. If we were to copy that behavior or that model, that would conflict with the language of the
Interlocal
proposed
agreement as it
interlocal
reads.
agreement that you're looking at
Mm-hmm.
right now.
yeah,
And so it might, you might consider studying it some more.
Yeah.
Or I would suggest you do so before you sign off on.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I wasn't
I'm-
ready to
yeah,
sign
no,
off
we're
on
not- we're
anything,
not-
we're
Yes.
just still researching and making
Yes.
sure that if it's still something we even want to do,
Right.
that we have the right verbiage,
Understanding to do.
I keep saying verbiage,
Yeah.
the right wording for what we want to do that's going to work for us. But we're just kind of starting off by seeing what has been previously done, so.
But like I say, New Berlin's website, it's
Yeah, I'll take
Let me
a
see what
look
I have
at
it right
that,
here.
see if we can do something that'll help with the yellow
Yeah.
font.
New Berlin ordinance annexing into ETJ, annexing into
We're all getting
ordinances, annexing into ETJ. Oh yeah, they did an ordinance where they annexed
So
a
it's
property
28.
into their ETJ.
2024-004? 04.
And so we tell the county, and this is just a general statement, we tell the county, yeah, we trust you guys, we trust everybody, but we're still gonna brand our cattle.
Yes.
What happened here?
It's City of New Berlin, Texas.gov.
That's what Alex
That's
told
not
me.
to keep the battery company out, it's just to keep them honest.
And on their homepage, it's got all the headings, but under government, and that's the agenda and the minutes and the ordinances
And
and
you know, a lot
other
of people
things
don't think
right
about
there.
that.
It's easy to
So I made a
navigate.
comment about
Just hard to read that yellow
You know
font.
what, I think we need to, kind of,
Is the fire department.
maybe
right,
between you
have
and
them
I,
say, okay,
just
it's gonna take this piece of.
start
equipment
sharing
to
a lot of
fight
notes
that fire.
in the board.
They give
Yeah.
them the
Message
resources
board.
Okay.
within
Yeah.
their model.
Yes, that's right.
Something that's already.
While we're on
As
that
we're
topic, right
finding,
now.
as we're
yes,
researching and finding out.
Right now, because I would like to attach files, but any more on message board, when somebody attaches a file, most of the time I can't pull it up. I
Really?
click on it and it says, oops, something went wrong.
Really?
And there's
Even when
some,
you're signed in?
well, I tried signing in and some it helped, some it didn't make any difference.
Huh.
So,
Laptops
Well,
too.
when you do that, yeah, let's,
but, okay.
Well,
Tell you what,
we'll
I'll
try
just
and
I'll
find out
post it
what's
and
going on
if you can't open it.
I know that
But it's okay.
it's still got a limit on the size.
Yeah,
You know, we upped the package, so we have a bigger
Okay.
limit on size and
Yeah.
a bigger limit on the number.
Yeah.
However, there is still limit.
and well,
But does it work with Adobe Acrobat? Because that's.
You need a PDF.
You-
You
yeah,
need a
you-
PDF.
Okay, yeah.
I think you can attach Word or something, but it's
I
better.
want to be able to snip and scan and just paste it, cut and paste.
Yes.
You know, but you can't do that.
Technology.
And Lord, I
works
tried to
for
use an
you
emoji and it went,
against you.
I lost
Yeah.
everything.
Well, you can also insert a, you know, if that's on a web page,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can insert the
Yeah,
you
the
know,
link.
a
the
link.
Yeah,
Make it a link.
maybe so.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh yeah, but it's interesting, New Berlin, I know they had issues. I thought they had big blocks of property. Their city limits looks kind of like ours, like
Mm-hmm.
spider webs.
Yes.
And
That's where they're trying to get the
And they
county
just-
to take
yeah,
over their
fix the
roads
roads.
again.
And
Because
that's
they,
right. That's
yeah.
right.
I would like that to be happening too.
Well,
They
we don't have much.
incorporated too much, and then all of a sudden, and they went to both sides of the road.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the county said, well, you overstepped your bounds, now that's your road.
Yeah.
Now they're saying, well, look, you can just
Yeah,
have.
Yeah.
But they have a property tax, they have a marshal,
They have, what I've
a
understood, they have
municipal
like a
judge.
voluntary property tax.
What is that?
I don't know,
I don't
but
know
that's
about
what,
that.
that's what Walt told
We
me.
need that in
The,
Texas.
president, yeah, I mean,
I
president.
think
Volunteer.
Mayor Williams told me that they have a,
What's your first?
I don't know, I just saw that they have
that
a.
they have a, like a voluntary,
Jackie Ott is their municipal judge.
A bill
Well,
that says, which
like
is
just
just a
now,
voluntary
or had
tax. Would y'all send us a check for voluntary?
elected,
Maybe so, it's on
not
their
yet
website.
in office,
Anyway.
yeah.
I said, well, what's that costing them? And,
Yeah.
and most of the stuff you pay to the city is traffic fines
Yeah.
and, that's, I don't know. It's,
Yeah.
it's cute, it's interesting.
Hey, I'm paying in time.
Okay, so that one, we still
So it's
we still need
there.
some,
Thank you for your service.
More investigation.
further
More
investigation.
knowledge,
on that,
more knowledge.
Item number 11,
Enjoy the rest of it. Thank you.
excuse me.
Oh, somebody else.
Discuss and consider clerical questions update. This is on possible options for Wi-Fi city laptop.
Well, so we already talked about the new laptop coming at the end of the month, and I did call GVC and talk to them about rates for fiber here to see what they said. You know, I know a bunch of people have gotten this flyer as well.
Sure, yes.
And
Quite regular, yeah.
so, and I had a chat with David about it the other day also, you know, he was here.
Yeah, I
and
called them
Okay.
just to see about store, you know, about,
Oh, you called GVC?
yeah, called
Okay.
GBC about,
Oh, yeah.
or no, I didn't call. I did the put in your address, yes, you have available, here's the packages, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I had two-prong. I got them to lower my personal internet bill also, so that was cool. Anyway, he, basically he is interested in better internet as well. He knows that Bonnie wants it, and and I told him that it had been discussed, maybe the city would chip in on that or something, which he certainly didn't seem against it. But basically he was saying that he needs a board meeting to happen before he can get it hooked up. And so it's kind of a shame because this is a December deal. But
Yeah.
they have deals all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I just called them
My-
and said,
my
"Hey, I'm
kind of-
paying more than the people I know," and
Yeah.
they were like, "Let's cut that by half for the next
Yeah.
12 months." And I was like, "Okay, great."
Awesome.
So
My kind of stopper is because I have DSL with this is again at the
Yeah.
store. DSL with GVTC, which is not very fast. However, it's bundled with my phone lines
yeah.
down there. And so I have 2 DSLs and 2 phone lines. And so if I do this, then I would have to pay the greater price for the phone to keep the phones,
right.
and then whatever price this is. So I would pay more per month, but is it worth it? It might be. So
Shirley, I have GVTC also, and it's a cable and it comes to the house. But then inside the house, then it's a router and there's a telephone line.
Right.
And do you have the same thing? So it's or is
Yeah.
your
yeah, it comes into a
DSL
modem or a
hooked
PoE,
directly?
and then it goes into the
Well,
router.
My question
Right.
is, does the DSL go straight into your computer, or is it to a Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi,
router? It's
Wi-Fi, and then the
That's-
phone line
Yes.
is different.
Yes,
That's a separate
right. Okay.
line. So, and my bills are for both. Otherwise, I would be all over this.
Yes.
It would be a no-brainer, but that means my phone
I
bills,
pay
which
$75.
I want to keep a landline phone
Yes.
there because it rings all day
Right.
long.
Yes.
I could get a VoIP phone, but I kind of like having,
Anything at Pooley Road.
So
What did you do, Starlink?
Wi-Fi, internet.
What did you do, Starlink?
You had to do Starlink.
Nothing would work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's people
Ranch
that
Wire,
have
VTX1,
VTX,
VTX1,
Ranch Wireless.
We couldn't get to work.
They couldn't
Yeah,
do
some
it in
people
my house
can't, you have to have
either.
line of
Well,
sight. You have
they've
to have
got
line of sight to a tower
That's-
for
they
that.
updated their,
Line of sight, and if you have any.
Yeah.
they've got
We
a,
do Starlink and it's pretty awesome.
okay,
Awesome.
It's expensive though,
Yeah.
how much?
it's $120 a month,
Ooh-wee,
120?
$120 a month.
120 a month?
that is
Uh-huh.
expensive.
So I don't know what I'm getting for $38. But
I tell
it
you
works,
what,
it works really good.
I'll trade you.
I'm going off the antenna, he wanted me off of the antenna in Luling, because it was brand new, they updated their system on this half of the county. And I said, but I needed to be on like a 50-foot tower.
Pole, yeah,
Yeah,
because it
and I
has to be
said-
a line of sight.
I said, I'm okay with that, but my wife says, no, she didn't want that in her yard.
So you don't have problem
So he
with,
said, okay, he said, so, no, he said, well, there's 2 towers in Lockhart, and he said, let me see. Okay, looks good.
yeah, mine's in
And
Lockhart,
I
mine goes
said,
to
yeah,
Lockhart.
and I said, now how much can that move, And he says, he can move a lot, he'll still pick that, good signal.
And one thing about it though, so that module, it's $600 for the equipment, and it's got magnets, 100-something mile-an-hour wind in that storm, it didn't blow it off the roof. And within 300-something feet of the house for the module, it works, rain or storm or shine.
Yeah.
we don't lose it.
Mine same way.
See, that's where other satellites have had an issue with, is during storms,
Yeah,
there's
It's
outage.
rock solid, no
Yeah.
doubt. I
Yeah.
guess you get what you pay.
So,
So we gotta wait
So-
for their next board meeting,
Sounds like it. It sounds like they, yeah.
and does he, well,
they have a business meeting on the first Thursday, so they won't have another business meeting until,
What do they have coming in?
January.
GVTC?
Yes.
Is it, okay, let's see. Because
which
there's
is DSL.
because that DSL line goes down Highway
Yeah.
90. And so
what
to
kind
all
of
us.
monthly cost would it be? Do you know? Any idea what it might be here?
Yes, so,
$75 a month.
well.
well, it depends on
so
which,
Open
which
existing.
Full price for 250,
250 megabits per second.
yeah, that's, $64.95 a month. But like this deal right now is half off.
Well, we're gonna say we're gonna go down to January, we're talking January or later,
Yeah.
February.
Well, and also.
I mean, like I said, I was paying full price and I just said, hey, I don't want to. And then
Yeah.
they were like, okay, half off for you for 12
Well,
months.
Yeah. Well, and it also depends, I don't know, it's probably 65 because when I was looking into it, if it was residential, it was something like $25 a month. If it was commercial, the same thing, $65 a
Well,
month.
do we wanna talk about how
Well,
much
but I
we might
did,
get?
I
So-
was talking, these prices that she was telling me are for the fire department.
Which
That's
would
what she
probably
said
be
they would.
commercial. It's not residential,
Yeah. Mhm.
so it's
Yeah.
probably the commercial
I mean,
price.
it's funny though, because the prices seemed really pretty similar to the residential
Yeah.
prices.
When I was looking at it, I put it in as like, what if it's residential? And it came out to $25 a month. When I switched it to commercial for the same thing at the same address, it was $65 a month. So,
Well,
but
I don't know.
again, I wasn't
Yeah.
talking to a live person, so that I
Yeah.
think that makes a difference too.
So you get her
Yeah.
to talk to him, she got half. off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, she-
12 months, I
Well,
mean, go for
get
it.
it. Yeah,
Fire department down
Yeah.
the road, got
Half
Yeah.
off, buddy.
Yeah.
Good night, Dennis.
so,
You gonna entertain like a dollar amount that we could maybe afford to pay?
yeah, well, so we don't know what they're paying right now, do we? Did you find out what they're paying right now?
No, I didn't
Okay.
ask him.
Okay.
Um,
And what speed, well, I know the
Yeah.
speed in here is 13, I think, and you're looking at 250. I think,
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, they're not gonna have a business meeting until
Early January.
early January.
Okay.
So, yeah, the deal might not be there, but if you talk to somebody as opposed to, go what they have on their
You
webpage.
gonna be
and-
talking to David now and then?
I
Next
mean-
month?
Probably.
Kinda like-
I mean, I don't know who's going to be around here through Christmas,
Yeah,
But,
well, they're here all the time.
But they're just like the city commission. They can't do anything without a board.
Yeah.
Right.
At their business meeting. Yeah, they're
Well, I don't
around.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got authority to.
Yeah, I was talking to him
Well,
the other day. I was
somebody's-
like, well, with the rain, the incidents of fire went down, but the incident of car accidents went way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
Somebody has to
So
take the
there's
proposition to the board, don't they?
Yes.
They don't just osmotically
No, they
absorb it.
No, they have to
Someone has to
consider
present
it
it.
just like.
Yeah.
So do we know who's gonna
It's
present
not a
it?
board, it's their
Their-
elected
Okay.
officials. They have
Well,
elected
Do
officials.
we know who would put that on their agenda, or
It could be any
Bonnie,
of
or David,
the,
or?
any of the, Sarah,
I don't know.
yeah, sir,
So we just need somebody to make sure somebody's gonna
Uh,
put it on their agenda
Sarah, Bill,
at our request,
Steve.
please.
Yeah, there's a
I mean,
number of people.
we would like to have it. They could sure use it.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think they could.
And,
Um,
I'm happy to
We
reach
could
out and get it
yeah.
on the agenda.
Yeah.
that'd be great.
And then I'm sure it would be great if at least one of y'all would come to the meeting.
Yeah,
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 okay, great.
absolutely.
All right.
Because typically, we didn't have the meeting in December because we had the meeting on the Saturday installing new officers and stuff. But the auxiliary meeting is immediately prior to
their business meeting. So it's just, and being a member of the auxiliary, I would just hang out, it's no problem.
Right.
Hang out for a little bit longer and attend their meeting. So, yeah, I can do that easily. I'll be here anyway, so.
Right on.
Right arm. All right. When does the new laptop get here, you said?
The 30th.
The 30th, all right. Item number 12, discuss and consider Kingsbury City Commission mission and vision statement.
Okay, because it was brought to my attention that someone on the message board had asked about this. They thought it was going to be on the agenda maybe, or they hadn't heard anything about it. They were wondering where we stand on that, and I am wondering too. Do we have a mission and vision statement that we've adopted? No.
No, we have not. We've gone over a number
We've
of
talked
ones,
about it
and
a lot.
then Allison came up with one that we that adjusted a little bit, but then we did not actually adopt
That's what I
anything. And we're,
Yeah, she said, we'll take this up
Yeah.
at a later meeting,
Yeah.
either in December or
Yeah,
January.
yeah.
I think.
so we don't have one at the moment.
I
Okay.
wonder if you could get people on the message board to send in.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm-
yeah,
There
I'm gonna
have
try
been a lot
to.
of requests to get notes on, I mean,
They ever
both,
send anything in to you? Like,
no,
Yeah, like what do you want it to say? Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
and then.
Well,
then,
I mean,
the
a
mayor
mission
and others
statement
can-
is,
Can
yeah.
obviously consider it within what they're trying to develop.
yeah. Well, a mission statement is essentially a sentence.
Yes. And that's
So
what I'm
it's
saying.
not,
think
I
if
mean,
you just
if we can
plug it
get
in,
all the input in the world, but
yeah.
it comes down to a sentence.
That's what
So,
we, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
so,
It's all a wish list and
And it is.
condense
You-
it down to.
As
You-
long as
if
Yeah,
you
well,
just-
somebody may send something in, and you go, wow, that's
Absolutely.
that's really catchy.
Yeah.
We like that.
Let me
Well,
ask
if they
you,
can do that, they ought to go to work for an ad agency.
yeah, yeah.
do you think that message board is a viable thing that people would use if they got a little incentive?
do you look at the message board?
I don't know why you really can't get people. I've been surprised about your turnout here. I'm surprised at people that.
Oh, we have more in our meetings than most of the cities in Guadalupe County.
Wow. Really?
Yes, yes, it is. When I'm talking with, the mayors in the other cities,
I
You
guess
know.
it's like the people that they complain about their elected officials, but they don't vote.
Yes.
Is that what it?
They complain
That's what it
about-
reminds me of.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm the cynic, I'm the opposite of E. I'm the cynic, I've always said, people are not gonna come out. The only ones that care are the ones that are here. And they don't come out. I just don't think the public comes out and,
I won't call a name,
they don't say anything.
but I thought it was
unless
kind of
Yeah.
funny how somebody in the city limits said, boy, if they start ordinance and stuff, they're gonna make me have to clean up my yard.
well, I mean, do you
And
go
I
to
thought,
county
that's
commissioners
interesting.
meet? You're in the county. Do you go to the county commissioners meetings?
I do.
Do you?
I do.
Good for you.
I try to, and because I talk to the supervisors and the road superintendents quite often,
Uh-huh.
because I never understand the method to the madness.
Yeah.
It's like the other day when they were out, it was raining, they were patching potholes.
Yeah.
And all counties and cities do it, I don't know why, but I want to try to.
I saw them patching the
I wanna
pothole in
try
the
to
rain
put
the other day.
reason to it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And then the county bought this spray tar and gravel machine that works really well, but the last 2 times, I hadn't seen them using it.
I know.
They've been throwing it out with a shovel, so, and so if you don't know and/or,
Yeah.
they're elected officials, and hold them accountable. That
Yeah.
don't mean they're doing a bad job. It just means that sometimes they don't know unless you bring it to their attention.
Right.
Or you ask the question.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't want, they don't want reasonable or constructive criticism or
Right.
some type of confrontation, but it can be professional and reasonable.
Uh-huh.
It's just because they don't like it, doesn't mean you can't tell them or ask the question,
That's right, that's right.
Yeah, I rarely attend, well, because it's at 10 a.m. so it's difficult
Right.
to attend those. I don't know what the turnout is on those, but I have never had a problem picking up the phone and talking to our commissioner for precinct 1. You know, I've done that countless times. But yeah, actually going to the city commission, county commission, county commission court.
The road superintendent met me at the road that one day, because going over that hill, I was trying to get them to put a slow down sign there, because how many people have moved on that road? And
Yeah.
some folks, when they turn,
Oh,
they're
man.
wide open until they get to the next turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I pulled out in front of one of my neighbors one morning that were, obviously I can't say they were speeding, it looked like they were, but I don't have a radar gun, I'm not law enforcement.
Yeah.
So they could have been doing.
But you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
You know it when you
But,
see it.
you don't want to make your neighbors mad.
Just so they don't put, on the road that I use, they put some rumble strips. So there's a
Curve.
there's
A dirt trail.
a dirt trail going around those
Oh my
rumble
God.
strips.
How big
heck
are
yeah.
your rumble strips?
Huh?
How big are your rumble strips?
They're not that big,
I
but
don't know.
they're
The ones on Ganderslew, I don't even think about them anymore.
Really?
So right up above your place, I generally know where you live, but not exactly. But if you
I live over
go-
there by Sweet Canaan.
Yeah, if you go up that road there where hard left.
On
and you
Sweet
run
Canaan?
into
On
somebody's
Prairie
gate.
Road?
Prairie Lee, I think.
No.
Oh, on Ganderslow, Pooley?
Yeah, where it
On
goes
Ganderslew,
around.
where they had the rumble strips. And the hard-
No, so go on across, go by the horse farm. You know where Joanne lives?
Yes,
That sharp turn there.
yes.
So a bus turns around there, but it's so weird how I've got behind them a couple times in a year. They go off the road on this side and
Yes.
off the road on that side to turn around. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
that is a terrible place for a county bus to be turned around.
Yeah.
And they're breaking the shoulder of the road.
Yeah.
Nobody said a word even in the
Yeah,
county.
there's a-
They can go out there and pave them a turnaround or
Yeah.
something. But
There's
anyway.
there's a path going around the rumble strips over there. Or you just drive on the other side of the road because you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get hit
it's a
head on.
it's a calculated risk. Because you're coming up on a turn, can't see,
Yeah.
but, at night though, you can see the headlights, so you can just go on the other side of the,
One thing I forgot to mention is that plat right there, that's
Yes, sir.
real important to attach that to that contract when you take it to the title company. Because it took me a while this afternoon in my confusion to figure out that we're confusing the title company.
Oh,
Remember,
okay.
our contract that we took them has the Dennis's old survey that
Right.
says 1.432. And this is now a new survey, and it's 1.44.
Yeah, this
It's
is October 31st.
denominated as a 1 acre, they say Dennis Kime, and then .44 is what we were going to buy. And so the two of them together amount to 1.44. And I was explaining all of that to the title company today in that email I sent you. And I know that lady over there is sitting there, where did Drugan come up with 1.44? Because I'm looking at 1.49 or
Okay.
1.432.
Yeah.
Do they have a copy of the survey?
They don't have I don't know
I don't-
if we ever
I don't think they
took
do.
them that survey.
Okay.
That's why
This
it's
one?
most important.
I'll get them straight
this
with
is
that.
October 31st. I
Yeah.
don't think I have the
It's-
previous one from,
I don't think I have either.
I have a copy.
was
of
it
the
even in the
previous one.
2000s? That other survey, or was it in the
No, that
1990s
was,
or?
well, when did he buy that? It was dated back when,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I think it was bought in 2000, it was dated 2003. I have
That
it,
sounds
Okay.
about right.
I have it,
Yeah.
I think it's,
Okay, so we'll
Anyway,
attach.
we'll make sure they get
yeah.
this one and try to get that other one away from them.
Attach.
here's what it is.
Or ask them to just give it back or not mark it well, this is not good.
Here's what the one looks like that you took over, we attached to the contract. And I don't see a clear date on it, but that's
Yeah, it's,
1.432. And it's
Now, that one looks
dated,
even-
Here, it
More
said
different.
July 2003.
yeah,
July 2003, okay.
3. So this is a
So
more
we're-
recent, and
Yeah,
I think this
because
is
we
more
were,
accurate.
we were concerned that they wouldn't take that one
Correct.
because of the age of it, yeah.
And they haven't asked
20
yet.
And
years.
it didn't have our delineated
Yeah,
Right.
right,
half-acre lot thing.
yeah.
Okay, so I
Okay,
need a
so we'll
copy of that
attach
and the
We'll-
signed
we'll go ahead-
documents.
We'll make some
yeah,
copies back here in just a second.
to take to title company.
All right, so mission and vision, we're going to work on that a little bit
I'm
more.
gonna see if I
don't
can
have a
stir up
problem
some
with
interest on
documents.
the message board
Yeah,
involvement.
Did you say copies? I was gonna say, I have extra copies of that.
well, of the signed,
The survey.
the
yeah.
signed. Oh, yeah, the survey I don't need extra
Oh, okay.
copies of that, but no,
Okay.
we were gonna make copies of,
Oh, I'm
But
sorry,
the-
yes.
yeah.
The
Do you have a
Okay.
copy of this?
That one's
Proceed,
going to
ignore
the
me.
Yeah, but I mean,
title company.
here's one.
Yeah, no, well, let me have it, let me see.
Okay, there you go. All right,
Yeah, let me keep that,
okay. Up, last item is adjourn.
thank you.